The ideas of free will and determinism have intrigued thinkers for many years. They raise a fundamental question. Do we truly control our choices, or are our actions determined by external factors? Let's break these concepts down in straightforward terms. Free will refers to the belief that we can make our own choices. For instance, when you decide what to have for dinner, say a sandwich or pizza, that choice is yours and yours alone. Nothing is forcing you to pick one over the other. If you opt for the sandwich, it's because you wanted it, not because of some outside influence. This notion of free will carries with it a sense of responsibility. If we have the freedom to choose, we are also accountable for our decisions. So if someone makes an unwise choice, it's considered their responsibility to face the consequences. On the flip side, determinism suggests that every action, thought, or choice is the result of preceding events or influences. It posits that our decisions might not be genuinely free because they are shaped by a variety of factors, such as our upbringing, environment, or even biological processes. For example, if you opt for pizza instead of a sandwich, a determinist might argue that your decision was swayed by the delicious smell of the pizza, your mood at the moment, or a happy memory connected to it. In this line of thinking, it may seem like you are making an independent choice, but your action was already influenced by numerous factors beyond your control. The clash between these two ideas is significant. If our actions are indeed guided by past influences, can we genuinely claim we have the freedom to choose? Consider someone weighing the decision to go for a run or relax at home. They might feel that they can choose either option freely. However, a determinist might highlight that their choice is dictated by factors like their level of fatigue, their affinity for running, or even the weather conditions outside. Although the choice feels independent, it is viewed as being shaped by various influences. Proponents of free will maintain that we can still make choices, even when external factors might influence us. For instance, someone who typically eats junk food might wake up one day feeling inspired to adopt a healthier diet. This shift can be seen as an instance of free will, where they consciously decide to alter their habits, despite any previous inclinations. It raises an interesting point about how much influence we truly have in our choices. By examining both perspectives, we can better understand the delicate balance between the freedom of our decisions and the factors that shape them. Which side resonates more with your own experiences? Supporters of free will often see certain choices as evidence that people can rise above their circumstances and take charge of their lives. Some thinkers, however, look for a balance between free will and determinism. They propose a view called compatibilism, which suggests that both ideas can coexist. According to this perspective, while we make choices based on our desires, those choices are still influenced by external factors. Consider the decision to spend a leisurely day painting. Your choice might be shaped by your passion for art or the availability of paints at home. Even with these influences, compatibilists argue that you are still making a free choice because it's something you genuinely want to do. Science contributes to this discussion as well. Research has shown that our brains often begin preparing for actions before we consciously decide to act. For instance, when reaching for a cup of coffee, your brain may send signals to your hand even before you realize that you want that cup. This information leads some to question the existence of free will, suggesting that our brains are making decisions for us. On the other hand, some argue that although our brains start the process early, conscious thought remains a vital part of making our decisions. The impact of this debate extends beyond theory. It resonates in real-life contexts, such as the justice system. If determinism holds true and people's actions stem from their environments, can we truly hold someone accountable for wrongful actions if they had limited choice? Some maintain that it is fair to hold them accountable because consequences, like punishment or rehabilitation, can potentially change future behavior, even if the individual wasn't entirely in control at the time of their actions. Believing in free will can also shape our self-perception. If you see yourself as having free will, you may feel more empowered to make changes in your life, such as deciding to exercise more or reduce screen time. Conversely, if you lean towards determinism, your focus may shift to understanding the factors influencing your behavior. This perspective can nurture greater compassion for yourself and others, as you recognize how much of our lives is affected by factors beyond our control, such as our upbringing or environment. Everyday scenarios provide a lens to explore this debate. For example, when choosing a career, are you making a conscious decision based on your interests and skills, or are your choices primarily influenced by the opportunities around you? This reflection opens up questions about the nature of our decisions and the extent of our free will. When we make choices, it's important to consider what influences those decisions. For instance, think about why someone might choose a particular career. Is it because they genuinely love it, or are they feeling pressure from their family or the available opportunities? Similarly, consider someone trying to quit smoking. Are they relying solely on their own willpower, or does support from friends and the stress they face play a big part? These examples illustrate how both free will and determinism can shape the choices we make. Why does this distinction matter? It affects how we view ourselves and others. If you believe in free will, you might think that individuals are fully accountable for their actions. On the other hand, if you lean towards determinism, you may focus on the circumstances that influence behavior and how to change them. Neither perspective provides all the answers, but exploring this idea can deepen our understanding of the world and our place in it. Whether you find yourself believing in free will, determinism, or a balance of the two, this debate prompts us to reflect on our decisions and to approach life with greater empathy. Now let's shift our focus to another concept: relativity and absolutism. These two ideas relate to how we perceive truth and morality, shaping our understanding of the world around us. At first glance, they might seem straightforward, but they lead to significant questions about decision-making and interpersonal interactions. Relativity suggests that what is considered true or morally acceptable can vary based on context, culture, or perspective. It implies that there isn't always one definitive answer that applies to everyone in every situation. For example, a certain gesture might be seen as polite in one country, but considered rude in another. A relativist would argue that both interpretations are valid within their respective cultures. This viewpoint frequently arises in discussions about ethics. Imagine a scenario where someone lies to protect a friend. In some instances, lying might seem wrong because honesty is valued. However, in other situations, like when a lie could ensure a friend's safety, lying could appear justified. A relativist would contend that the morality of the lie depends on the specific circumstances and intent behind it. In contrast, absolutism holds that certain truths or ethical rules are fixed and universal. These perspectives offer different frameworks for evaluating our actions and the decisions of others. By comparing relativity and absolutism, we can gain deeper insights into how we navigate moral dilemmas and understand varying viewpoints in our interactions. Some people believe that certain actions are always right or wrong, regardless of the situation. This view, known as absolutism, maintains that truth is a constant. For instance, an absolutist might assert that lying is never okay, even if it's meant to help someone. On the other hand, relativism suggests that context matters. A relativist might view lying differently, weighing the reasons behind it. This contrast between absolutism and relativism appears in various aspects of life. Take the law, for example. An absolutist might claim that stealing is inherently wrong, while a relativist might consider the circumstances. If someone steals food out of desperation, a relativist might find that action more understandable, even if it is generally accepted that stealing is wrong. The fundamental difference between these perspectives often revolves around their understanding of fairness. Absolutists prioritize consistency and believe that clear rules are crucial for maintaining order and justice. They worry that flexibility in rules could lead to confusion or unfair treatment. In contrast, relativists emphasize the importance of recognizing diverse circumstances and beliefs. They argue that these differences play a vital role in deciding what is fair or right. Consider the example of two parents raising their children. One parent insists that bedtime should always be at 8 p.m. without exception. This parent adopts an absolutist approach, valuing the importance of consistent rules. Meanwhile, the other parent believes that bedtime can be adjusted for special occasions, like holidays. This perspective reflects a more relativist mindset where flexibility is welcomed. Another example can be found in cultural traditions. An absolutist may argue that their way of celebrating a holiday is the only correct method, advocating for the same practices every year. Conversely, a relativist might appreciate the validity of various cultural celebrations, acknowledging that there is no single right way to honor traditions. Even in science, we can see the difference between these two views. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity reveals that time and space are not fixed but can change based on factors like speed and gravity. This was a significant departure from earlier absolutist ideas that treated time and space as constant and unchanging. As we explore these concepts further, it's interesting to reflect on how our own beliefs might align with either absolutism or relativism. Which perspective do you find resonates more with your own experiences? Across the universe, the principles of relativity tell us that context matters. In the realm of morality and ethics, this idea takes on a personal dimension. Absolutists often point to religious or philosophical doctrines as proof of clear, unchanging truths about how we should lead our lives. They might assert that killing is always wrong, regardless of the circumstances. On the other hand, relativists might highlight cases like self-defense or wartime actions, where taking a life could be viewed as justified. For relativists, the key is understanding the specifics of a situation and the motivations behind it. However, one of the critiques of relativism is that it can sometimes feel like it opens the door to just about anything. If what's right depends entirely on context, how do we set boundaries? For instance, if a culture practices harmful rituals, should that be acceptable simply because it is part of their tradition? Relativists might argue that while context is crucial, some actions, like inflicting harm, are likely to be wrong across different cultures. Absolutism, in contrast, faces its own set of challenges. A strict adherence to fixed rules can lead to situations that feel unjust. Imagine a policy that states any student who submits their homework late receives a 0, without exceptions. This might appear fair at first glance because it treats all students the same. But what if a student was delayed due to a family emergency? In that case, a strict absolutist stance could seem overly harsh, while a more relativist perspective could encourage compassion and understanding in that situation. The tension between relativism and absolutism becomes evident when disagreements arise. Relativists are typically more open to considering opposing viewpoints, even if they don't agree. Absolutists, however, might find it more challenging to see things differently since they hold their beliefs as universal truths. Conversely, absolutists often feel a greater sense of certainty in their decisions, while relativists might wrestle with making definitive judgments when numerous factors are at play. This debate also shapes our views on progress and change. Absolutists may resist altering long-held traditions, believing some values should remain constant. Meanwhile, relativists often embrace change, seeing it as a natural response to evolving circumstances and ideas. In reality, many people don't fit neatly into either category. In certain situations, individuals may lean toward absolutism, while in others, they may adopt a relativist stance. It's a complex interplay that reflects the diverse ways we navigate our moral landscape. Absolutism and relativity are two ideas that offer different ways of looking at fairness and justice. Absolutism supports the view that fairness applies uniformly to everyone, while relativity encourages us to consider individual situations and perspectives. Each approach comes with its own benefits and limitations. Relativity teaches us to be adaptable. It reminds us to take into account the specific context of different experiences, helping us appreciate the diversity in how people live their lives. On the other hand, absolutism underscores the value of having clear rules and shared principles. This clarity can foster a sense of fairness and consistency that many people find reassuring. Ultimately, this discussion isn't about choosing one viewpoint over another. It's about finding a middle ground. Sometimes we need strict rules to maintain order and equity. At other times, we must allow for flexibility to navigate life's complexities. By considering both views, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Now, let's delve into the concept of appearance versus reality. This question is significant, and asks us to think about whether what we see or experience truly reflects the underlying truth. There are times when something may appear one way, but its reality tells a different story. This idea can be illustrated with tangible examples. When we refer to appearance, we mean how something looks on the outside. Reality, however, pertains to the truth that exists beneath that exterior. These two aspects don't always coincide. For example, imagine a dessert that looks absolutely enticing. Its vibrant colors and decorations are appealing. Yet, when you take a bite, you're disappointed to find it doesn't taste good at all. The dessert's appearance promised one thing, but its reality was quite different. This disconnect also applies to people. Think about meeting someone who seems warm and friendly at first. You may feel they would be a wonderful person to have as a friend. However, as time goes by, you might notice that their actions don't align with their words. It turns out they may be putting on a facade for their own motives. This illustrates once again how appearance and reality can diverge. Sometimes we misread situations because we focus too much on what we see. Imagine spotting someone sitting alone at a party. You might assume they're feeling lonely or choosing not to engage. In truth, they could be perfectly content enjoying a quiet moment or simply taking a breather. By recognizing that appearances can be misleading, we open ourselves to a richer understanding of those around us. First impressions often rely on what we see, but they can be misleading. The difference between appearances and reality is a common theme in stories, art, and philosophy. For instance, consider fairy tales. Many of them feature magical or seemingly safe elements that turn out to be dangerous, like a witch posing as a kind old woman. These stories encourage us to look beyond the surface and question what is truly real. Philosophy also explores this theme extensively. Plato, a renowned philosopher, shared a story about people living in a cave. Those individuals could only see shadows on the wall, believing them to be the entirety of reality since they had never known anything else. However, when one person escapes the cave and discovers the outside world, they realize that the shadows were merely illusions. This narrative illustrates how people can mistake appearances for reality when they lack the full context. Science also addresses this idea. For example, the Earth may look flat to us when we stand on its surface, yet we know it is round. Similarly, the sun appears to traverse the sky, but the truth is that the Earth is the one moving. These examples show us that what we perceive can differ significantly from what is true when we take the time to explore further. The distinction between appearance and reality is critical when it comes to judging others. Many people strive to present themselves in a certain light, especially on social media. Someone may share images that portray their life as perfect, while in reality, they might be facing stress, sadness, or other challenges that are hidden from view. This discrepancy is a reminder not to overly compare ourselves to what we see online, as it often reflects only a fragment of their reality. Appearance versus reality also plays a significant role in trust. If someone appears trustworthy but is not, it can create problems in relationships. Imagine someone who consistently says the right things to make you feel valued, only for you to discover later that their actions don't align with their words. This realization can be hurtful, as you trusted what you perceived without knowing the truth lurking beneath. Similarly, in advertising, companies frequently enhance their products' appearances. A fast food burger might look enormous and flawless in a commercial, but the actual meal you receive may be much smaller and messier. This scenario clearly demonstrates the gap that can exist between how things appear and how they truly are. Why do we often concentrate on how things look? One reason is that our senses are geared towards picking up what's obvious. What we see, hear, and feel come to us immediately and are easy to understand. It takes more time and thought to uncover what is truly there. For instance, figuring out someone's character usually takes longer than simply noticing what they wear. This tendency can lead to quick judgments based on appearances. However, while looks can sometimes mislead us, they can also align with reality. For example, if someone is smiling and behaving nicely toward you, there's a good chance that they are genuinely kind. Similarly, if the sky is overcast, it's likely to rain soon. The important point is not to lean only on these first impressions, but to seek deeper understanding when necessary. This idea encourages us to be patient and observant. Rather than jumping to conclusions based on appearances, we can take a moment to ask questions and gather more information. If someone seems upset, instead of assuming their frustration is directed at you, why not check in and see if they're okay? You might find they're simply having a rough day. Not everything involves us. Appearance versus reality also invites us to reflect on our own self-awareness. At times, we might project a certain image to others even if it doesn't accurately reflect our feelings inside. For example, you might fake confidence during a job interview, though you feel anxious. While this can be useful in some scenarios, it's equally important to be truthful with ourselves about who we really are and how we genuinely feel. Ultimately, this exploration into appearance and reality prompts us to look beyond the surface. It nudges us to question what we observe and think carefully before making judgments. Often there is more happening than what first meets the eye, whether we're dealing with a person, a situation, or an experience. By staying curious and thoughtful, we can inch closer to understanding the reality beneath appearances. Turning to another complex topic, the question of why evil exists is one that has challenged people for generations. It probes the heart of why bad things happen in a world many believe is overseen by a good and powerful God. If God is all-loving and all-powerful, what accounts for the presence of evil? This question has intrigued scholars, the faithful, and skeptics for centuries as we explore its deeper meaning. Imagine a world where everything is perfect, no suffering, no pain, and no bad experiences. It seems logical to think that if God is good and can do anything, he would create such a world. Yet when we look around, we see quite the opposite: illness, natural disasters, and sometimes even intentional harm caused by others. This brings us to the problem of evil. How can these realities coexist if God is both loving and powerful? To grasp this issue, we need to explore two types of evil. The first is moral evil, which stems from human actions. For instance, when someone lies, steals, or intentionally hurts another person, that's an example of moral evil. These instances occur because individuals make choices that negatively impact others. The second type is natural evil, which encompasses phenomena like earthquakes, floods, and diseases. These events are not the result of human choice. Rather, they arise from natural processes. Some people believe that the concept of free will helps explain the existence of evil. They argue that God granted people the freedom to make their own choices, allowing for love, creativity, and goodness. However, this freedom also means that individuals can choose to do harm. For example, if someone could only tell the truth without any choice in the matter, their honesty wouldn't be genuine. It would feel more like a requirement. Supporters of free will argue that the potential for people to make bad choices is a risk worth taking for the sake of true freedom. However, free will does not account for everything, particularly in the case of natural evil. A hurricane is not the result of someone's poor decisions, nor is cancer a consequence of an intentional harmful act. To explain natural evil, some people point to the way the world functions. Natural disasters occur due to movements in the Earth's crust or shifting weather patterns, and diseases can often be understood through biological processes. While these events can lead to suffering, they are also integral to how our world operates. Without life's natural processes, life itself wouldn't exist. Others suggest that evil and suffering serve as tests or lessons. They argue that enduring hardships can help individuals grow, becoming stronger, kinder, or more empathetic. For instance, a person who overcomes a serious illness might develop a deeper sense of compassion for others facing similar struggles. This view implies that suffering has a purpose, even if it sometimes feels unknowable. As we reflect on these perspectives, it's essential to remain open to the complexities of the human experience. What are your thoughts on these different explanations? How do you see them playing out in your own life? Understanding the existence of suffering can be a challenging notion, especially when faced with extreme situations like the loss of a child or large-scale disasters. Some people suggest that we might not fully grasp God's plan. They believe that God may have reasons for allowing pain that go beyond our understanding. This idea is often referred to as the greater good defense. Imagine it like a puzzle where we can only see a few pieces at a time, while God has the complete picture in view. However, for many, this explanation can feel inadequate. It doesn't give a clear answer to the pain they experience. On the other hand, some view the presence of evil as evidence that God either doesn't exist or lacks the power or love people attribute to him. Their argument is straightforward. If God wanted to eliminate suffering, he could. Since suffering exists, they reason that a benevolent and all-powerful God must not be real. This viewpoint is commonly held by atheists or those who don't believe in God. Then there are those who believe in a middle ground. They see God as a creator, but think he doesn't interfere in every detail of our lives. This belief is sometimes called deism. In this view, God sets the world in motion, but allows it to operate independently, like a clock that's wound up and left to tick. Therefore, God might not intervene to prevent every act of evil or disaster. The issue of suffering isn't just philosophical, it affects how we live our lives. When a person experiences pain, they often ask, "Why did this happen to me?" This question is deeply personal, and individuals find comfort in different ways. Some lean on their faith, trusting that God is alongside them during their toughest moments. Others find purpose in helping those around them, transforming hardship into positive action. Consider someone who has lost their home due to a natural disaster. They might question why such a tragedy occurred. If they believe in God, they may turn to prayer for strength and guidance. Conversely, if they don't share that belief, they might focus on rebuilding and assisting others in their community. Both responses illustrate how people strive to respond to suffering in ways that resonate with their beliefs. Another approach to the problem of evil centers on human action. Instead of dwelling on why evil exists, many choose to focus on how they can make a difference. For instance, when people witness hunger or homelessness, they might opt to volunteer or donate to those in need. While focusing on action doesn't directly answer why suffering occurs, it emphasizes the importance of contributing to a better world, despite the existence of hardship. Ultimately, the problem of evil does not have a simple solution. It invites us to explore our beliefs, our actions, and our responses to suffering, shaping how we understand and engage with the world around us. The question of existence and non-existence has been debated for centuries, and it's likely to continue for many more. Some people find comfort in their faith, believing that God has a plan, even when it seems unclear. Others turn to science or philosophy, seeking natural explanations for the events around them. Meanwhile, some simply accept that life includes both good and bad moments, focusing on making the most of their experiences. The problem of evil compels us to reflect deeply on our beliefs, the world around us, and how we confront suffering. It serves as a reminder that life is intricate, often without straightforward answers. Yet, it also encourages us to respond with kindness, compassion, and courage when faced with life's toughest questions. Now let's consider the ideas of being and nothingness. These concepts revolve around two fundamental questions. What does it mean to exist, and what does it mean to not exist? While they may seem simple at first glance, these questions pose significant challenges. Thinkers, philosophers, and writers have dedicated decades, even centuries, to exploring them. Being refers to existence itself. It's about what is real, present, or alive. A tree, a person, or even a concept like love represents being. When we discuss something as being, we refer to its existence. We encounter the state of being in our daily lives, often without giving it much thought. When you gaze at the sky, listen to a piece of music, or feel the warmth of the sun, you're experiencing things that exist. In contrast, nothingness represents the absence of being. Imagine an empty room, no people, no furniture, no sounds, just silence. Now, expand that idea to the concept of absolute nothingness, where even air, space, or time does not exist. This notion can be difficult to understand, as our minds are conditioned to focus on what is present. Nothingness feels alien because it starkly contrasts everything we comprehend. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre delved deeply into these themes. He posited that nothingness plays a significant role in our humanity. Unlike inanimate objects like rocks or trees, we possess the capacity to reflect on our existence, our aspirations, and our limitations. This awareness of nothingness shapes our understanding of ourselves, whether we recognize it or not. To better grasp this concept, consider this scenario. Imagine you're seated in a cafe, waiting for a friend. You notice people around you. They're chatting, sipping coffee, and reading. This lively scene highlights the existence of being all around you, grounding you in the present moment. You might notice that when your friend isn't around, their absence is a reminder of nothingness. This feeling changes how we experience the moment. You could feel disappointed, annoyed, or even worried. Although we can't see or touch nothingness, it still impacts us. Philosophers have pointed out that humans are unique because we can imagine things that don't exist. For instance, if you're in a job you dislike, you might picture a different life where you're doing something else. That imagined life captures a kind of nothingness, but contemplating it can inspire you to make changes. This ability to create meaning from our thoughts is part of what makes life interesting. We don't simply accept the world as it is, we think about how it might be. This brings us to the topic of freedom. Because we are aware of both being and nothingness, we have the power to make choices. For example, if you feel stuck in a routine, you may decide to try a new hobby or go on a trip. These choices can help you create meaning in your life. However, freedom also comes with responsibility. When we have the ability to choose, it means that we are accountable for our decisions. This responsibility can feel heavy at times since we can't blame anyone else if things don't work out as we hoped. The idea of nothingness is also relevant when we think about loss. When someone dear to us passes away, their absence creates a space in our lives. While this kind of nothingness can be painful, it also reminds us of how important that person was to us. It highlights the connection between being and nothingness, as they influence each other in ways we may not always notice. Creativity offers another perspective on being and nothingness. When an artist begins with a blank canvas, that reflects nothingness. Yet as they apply paint, they bring something new into existence. A writer faces a similar situation when staring at an empty page, just as a musician experiences silence before they play. In this way, creativity transforms nothingness into something meaningful. Finally, nothingness invites us to ponder life and death. What happens when we die? Do we enter nothingness, or is there something beyond? People have a variety of beliefs about this topic, influenced by their own experiences and perspectives. Exploring these questions can deepen our understanding of existence itself. The concept of nothingness can evoke different beliefs about what happens after we die. Some people think about an afterlife or some form of continued existence, while others focus on the idea of returning to nothingness. Although these questions may not have straightforward answers, contemplating them can enrich our appreciation for life. In our daily lives, we encounter forms of nothingness in subtle ways. For instance, consider a trip you were excited to take that ultimately got canceled, or an opportunity that slipped through your fingers. The emptiness of what could have been can lead to feelings of sadness or frustration. However, it can also serve as a reminder to cherish the plans that do come to fruition. Life constantly balances between presence and absence, hope and loss. These ideas of being and nothingness aren't just abstract concepts, they influence our daily experiences. As we navigate through life, we become aware of all that exists around us, as well as the things that are missing, what could have been, and what may never happen. This awareness adds layers to our existence and gives life its richness. It is part of what makes us human. We are not only beings who exist, but also thinkers who ponder existence and imagine what lies beyond it. This capacity for thought and imagination is both a gift and a challenge, shaping our perspectives and actions. Now, let's move on to a captivating concept in physics, known as wave-particle duality. This principle suggests that light and matter can exhibit properties of both particles and waves, depending on how we observe them. While this might sound puzzling at first, it's a real phenomenon that scientists have been investigating for over a century. To grasp how wave-particle duality works and why it matters, let's break it down clearly. First, let's consider waves. Waves are all around us and can be visualized as ripples on a pond. When you throw a stone into the water, the ripples spread outward, carrying energy through the water. Waves can also move through the air, like sound waves, or through space, like light waves. A wave doesn't stay in one spot, it extends over an area. Next, think about particles. Particles are small bits of matter, such as grains of sand or droplets of water. They are solid and occupy a single location at any given time. If you throw a ball, it travels along a clear path from one spot to another, illustrating particle behavior. So how can something behave as both a wave and a particle? This is where wave-particle duality comes into play. Scientists first encountered this concept during their exploration of light. For a long time, people believed, light is quite fascinating. It moves through space like a wave, bending around objects much like water flows around a rock. However, a shift in understanding began in the early 20th century when scientists noticed something unusual. Max Planck introduced the idea that light energy appears in tiny packets known as photons. Building on this, Albert Einstein demonstrated that light can behave like particles, particularly when it interacts with metal surfaces. In this scenario, light can knock electrons loose, a phenomenon referred to as the photoelectric effect. This effect makes sense only if we think of light as made up of particles. Yet, light also acts like a wave. When light passes through two narrow slits, the waves overlap and create a series of bright and dark bands on a screen, a pattern we call interference. This pattern only emerges when light functions as a wave. Interestingly, depending on how we test light, it can exhibit properties of either a wave or a particle. It's not limited to just one. The surprises don't stop with light. Researchers discovered that matter, including electrons, exhibits the same wave-particle duality. If we send electrons through two slits, they create an interference pattern similar to that of light waves. This revelation was puzzling. Most people consider electrons to be solid particles. Yet under specific conditions, they behave like waves. Now here's another intriguing aspect. How we observe these particles influences their behavior. If we set up a detector to pinpoint which slit an electron travels through, it acts as a particle, choosing one slit. However, if the detector is removed, the electron behaves like a wave, moving through both slits simultaneously and forming the interference pattern. This raises an interesting question. How can something be both a wave and a particle at the same time? While scientists don't fully grasp the reasons behind this dual nature, we know it's a fundamental part of the rules governing quantum mechanics, which explores the realm of tiny particles and atoms. The concept of wave-particle duality carries significant implications. It challenges our understanding of reality. In our everyday experience, things are either here or there, solid or not. In the quantum world, however, particles can exist in a sort of in-between state. They aren't just particles or waves, they embody a more complex reality. This duality also helps us understand the behavior of atoms and molecules. For instance, electrons do not simply orbit the nucleus like planets, but exist in a cloud of probabilities around it. Think of the nucleus of an atom as the sun, and the electrons as tiny planets revolving around it. But in reality, electrons don't orbit in neat, predictable paths. Instead, they exist in clouds around the nucleus, behaving more like waves than particles. This wave-like behavior is key to understanding why atoms are stable and how they form the bonds that create everything we see around us. Wave-particle duality, the concept that light and matter can exhibit properties of both waves and particles, has practical applications as well. Technologies such as lasers, solar panels, and medical imaging devices all rely on our comprehension of this dual nature. Quantum mechanics, which includes wave-particle duality, serves as the backbone for modern computers and emerging technologies like quantum computing. To illustrate wave-particle duality, imagine a person who wears two different hats. Depending on their activity, they might wear one hat or the other. Similarly, light and particles switch between their wave and particle hats based on how we observe them. Although this concept may seem puzzling, it represents a genuine aspect of our universe, reminding us that things don't always conform to our expectations. This opens the door for new questions and discoveries, challenging our understanding of reality. Now let's delve into Schrödinger's cat, a thought experiment in quantum physics that has intrigued minds for decades. It combines elements of science, logic, and imagination to examine the behaviors of very tiny particles. To grasp this concept, we first need to understand a bit about quantum mechanics, which studies atoms and particles. Unlike everyday objects, these tiny particles can behave in surprising ways. For example, A particle might be in two places at once or act as both a particle and a wave. One of the most bewildering ideas in quantum mechanics is called superposition. This means that a particle can exist in multiple states simultaneously until it is observed or measured. For instance, an electron might spin in two different directions at the same time, or a photon of light might take two different paths concurrently. Once we observe it, however, the particle settles into one specific state, as if it had always been in that condition. This notion may seem perplexing, but experiments have validated it, even if it differs from our typical experiences. Let's explore an intriguing thought experiment from 1935, introduced by physicist Erwin Schrödinger. He wanted to illustrate the peculiar nature of quantum mechanics, and his example involved a cat in a sealed box. Inside the box, there are a few important items: a radioactive atom, a Geiger counter, a vial of poison, and a mechanism that releases the poison if the Geiger counter detects radiation. Here's how it works. The radioactive atom has a 50% chance of decaying within a certain time frame and a 50% chance of remaining stable. If it decays, the Geiger counter will trigger the mechanism, breaking the vial and releasing the poison, which would lead to the cat's death. On the other hand, if the atom doesn't decay, the vial remains intact and the cat stays alive. This is where things get unusual. According to quantum mechanics, until we open the box and observe the contents, the radioactive atom is in a superposition of states, meaning it is both decayed and not decayed at the same time. Since the cat's fate depends on the state of the atom, it too is considered to be in a superposition. It is both alive and dead until someone looks inside the box. When the box is opened, the superposition collapses and the atom chooses a state, causing the cat to be either fully alive or fully dead. This concept of the cat being both alive and dead simultaneously presents a paradox. It doesn't align with our everyday understanding, where we typically see things as clearly one state or the other. Schrödinger's cat serves as a thought experiment meant to highlight the oddities of quantum mechanics rather than a literal scenario. Schrödinger himself didn't believe a cat could truly exist in two states at once. His point was to demonstrate how strange it can be to apply quantum principles to larger objects, which we perceive as strictly alive or dead. This experiment raises significant questions about our understanding of reality in quantum mechanics. Unlike our familiar world, where looking at a tree doesn't change its growth or size, in the quantum realm, the act of observation appears to influence the state of a particle. How can this be? It challenges our perception of reality. Schrödinger's cat also touches on a more profound question. What is reality before we observe it? Is the cat genuinely in two states at once, or is it simply one state in a different way of understanding? These are the kinds of questions that prompt deeper reflection on the nature of reality itself. We still don't have a definitive answer to the questions around quantum mechanics. Various interpretations try to provide clarity, but there is no consensus. One well-known interpretation is the Copenhagen interpretation, which posits that a cat is in a state of being both alive and dead until it is observed. When someone looks inside the box, this superposition ends, and the cat is found to be either alive or dead. Another interpretation is called the many worlds theory. According to this idea, when the box is opened, the universe branches into two realities, one in which the cat is alive and another where it is dead. In this view, both outcomes exist, but they belong to separate parallel universes that we cannot access or see. Schrödinger's cat isn't merely an abstract concept for scientists. It connects to real-world applications, helping to explain how technologies like computers, smartphones, and medical imaging devices function. These innovations are grounded in the principles of quantum mechanics, which studies the behavior of particles at incredibly small scales. In our daily lives, we don't notice superpositions because quantum effects are typically too subtle to detect in larger objects like cats or humans. For these larger entities, the strange behavior of quantum mechanics seems to vanish, making things appear predictable. However, at the tiniest scales, particles do not adhere to the same rules, which is what makes quantum mechanics feel so unusual. Furthermore, this thought experiment emphasizes the importance of curiosity and the limits of our knowledge. Until you open the box, the state of the cat remains a mystery. This mirrors a fundamental aspect of science and life. Observing, questioning, and testing are vital for understanding the world. Even when the findings are unexpected or don't align with prior beliefs, asking questions encourages deeper exploration. Schrödinger's cat serves as a reminder that reality often holds more complexities than we initially perceive. It challenges us to think beyond the surface and consider the intricate, often concealed mechanisms of the universe. By delving into these puzzling concepts, scientists and thinkers continually expand the frontiers of our understanding. Now let's consider one of the most captivating debates in the history of science, the discussion surrounding the Big Bang Theory and the steady-state theory. This conversation revolves around the origins of the universe and whether it had a beginning at all. Let's explore two ideas about how the universe works, both of which aim to explain its nature, but they offer very different perspectives. First, there's the Big Bang Theory. This concept suggests that the universe began as an incredibly tiny, hot, and dense point known as a singularity. Think of it like blowing up a balloon. At first, the balloon is small, but as you blow air into it, it expands. Similarly, around 13.8 billion years ago, everything we see today was packed into this tiny space. In an instant, it started to expand. As the universe grew larger, it also cooled down. Tiny particles came together to form atoms, which eventually grouped into stars, galaxies, and all the other cosmic structures we see now. This theory explains why galaxies appear to be moving away from us. It's not that they are traveling through space, rather, space itself is expanding, taking the galaxies along with it. Now on to the steady-state theory. This concept takes a different approach. It proposes that the universe has always existed in the same way and doesn't have a specific beginning or end. According to this theory, as the universe expands, new matter is continuously created to fill the spaces that form. This keeps the overall density of the universe consistent, even as it grows larger. Imagine a loaf of bread rising in the oven. As it expands, fresh bits of dough might appear to keep the bread looking the same throughout. In the steady-state theory, the universe is similar, always expanding but maintaining its overall appearance. At first glance, both theories seem plausible since they account for the universe's expansion. But how do we determine which one may be correct? Scientists rely on evidence to guide them. One significant piece of evidence for the Big Bang Theory is known as the cosmic microwave background, CMB. This faint glow of radiation fills the universe, like a snapshot of its early years just a few 100,000 years after the Big Bang. The CMB represents leftover heat from that time and aligns perfectly with what the Big Bang Theory predicts. In contrast, the steady-state theory does not explain the existence of the CMB. Another clue lies in how galaxies are distributed throughout the universe. The Big Bang Theory predicts a specific arrangement, while the steady-state theory struggles to account for these patterns. As we delve deeper into these concepts, it becomes clearer how evidence plays a crucial role in understanding our vast universe. What do you think about these competing theories? How do they shape our view of the cosmos? When we gaze into the vastness of space, we're not just seeing distant stars and galaxies, we're essentially peering back in time. What we observe today reveals that the universe was once a fundamentally different place, teeming with young galaxies in a smaller, denser environment. This observation challenges the steady-state theory, which claims that the universe remains unchanged over time and cannot account for these transformations. The journey to the Big Bang Theory was gradual, built on decades of careful observation and research. In the 1920s, scientist Edwin Hubble made a groundbreaking discovery. He found that galaxies are moving away from us, and the farther they are, the faster they seem to be traveling. This evidence indicated that the universe is expanding, giving us the first hint that it might have originated from a single, compact point. Fast forward to the 1960s, and scientists stumbled upon the cosmic microwave background, a key finding that provided compelling proof of a hot, dense beginning to the universe. Since then, further discoveries, like how elements such as hydrogen and helium were formed, have lent more support to the Big Bang Theory. While the steady-state theory had its supporters, as it sidestepped the challenging question of how the universe began, it started to diminish in popularity as more evidence favored the Big Bang Theory. It's worth noting that the debate between these two ideas isn't just about scientific observations. It also opens up significant philosophical inquiries. The Big Bang Theory implies that the universe had a beginning, prompting questions about what might have triggered that event and whether anything existed before the Big Bang. These are questions that the current scientific framework struggles to fully address, inviting wonder and curiosity. On the other hand, the steady-state theory provides comfort for those who prefer a universe that has always existed, avoiding the complexities of a starting point. Yet, this approach also limits our understanding of how the universe came into being. Today, the Big Bang Theory enjoys wide acceptance, but science remains a field open to questions and new evidence. For instance, researchers are still exploring what might have caused the Big Bang. Some suggest that our universe could be part of a larger multiverse, where multiple universes coexist alongside each other. This ongoing inquiry illustrates the beauty of science. It's always evolving, encouraging us to ponder and explore the unknown. Let's dive into the idea that the universe might go through cycles of expansion and contraction. This concept is intriguing, but it's important to note that scientists are still exploring it. An ongoing discussion in the scientific community involves comparing the Big Bang Theory and the steady-state theory. This debate is a great illustration of how science operates. It starts with questions and ideas, which are then tested against available evidence. The theories that align with the evidence tend to prevail, while others are set aside. This method helps us move toward a clearer understanding of the universe and our role within it. Both the Big Bang Theory and the steady-state theory aim to explain how the universe functions. However, evidence, such as the cosmic microwave background and the distribution of galaxies, suggests that the universe likely had a beginning. Even with this knowledge, the narrative of how it all started continues to unfold, reminding us that there is always more to explore. By posing questions, testing theories, and remaining open to new findings, science enriches our comprehension of the cosmos. Now, let's consider time. The phenomenon of time flowing in one direction, often referred to as time's arrow, presents an intriguing puzzle. Most of us intuitively see time moving forward. This is what we call time's arrow. In contrast, the laws of physics imply that time might not be limited to moving in just one direction. When we think about time's arrow, we notice that events occur in a specific sequence. The past leads to the present, and the present leads to the future. For instance, if you crack an egg, you can't return it to its shell. Similarly, when you see smoke rising from a fire, you don't expect it to flow back into the wood. This forward movement is how we understand and experience time in our everyday lives. On the flip side, reversible physics, drawn from scientific principles, includes laws that describe the behavior of particles and forces. Many of these laws are indifferent to the direction of time. For instance, imagine watching a video of two billiard balls colliding. If you play it in reverse, the motion still makes sense. The equations governing their movement apply equally whether time moves forward or backward. This characteristic is known as time reversal symmetry. So we arrive at an essential question. If the laws of physics don't strictly dictate a forward direction for time, why does time's arrow seem so prevalent in our daily lives? Why is it that we can recall the past but not the future? These questions invite us to explore deeper into the nature of time itself. Can we really mix milk into coffee and then unmix it? The answer involves a concept known as entropy, which is all about disorder or randomness in a system. According to the second law of thermodynamics, in a closed system, entropy tends to increase over time. In simpler terms, things naturally progress from order to disorder. Let's break it down with a familiar example. Picture a box filled with marbles, half red and half blue, neatly arranged. If you shake the box, the marbles will mix, but no matter how much you shake, they won't return to their original, perfectly separated state. This shift toward disorder helps explain why certain actions seem irreversible. Think about cracking an egg. When you break it, you create a greater level of disorder, making it nearly impossible to reassemble the egg as it was before. Similarly, when smoke rises from a fire, it disperses into the air, increasing randomness. These alterations in entropy help us understand the flow of time, suggesting a past direction and an evolving future. But if entropy clarifies the arrow of time, how do the laws of physics operate the same in both directions? The key is that while individual particles can behave in ways that seem to allow for time to run backward, larger groups of particles like eggs, smoke, or even galaxies align more with the forward flow of time due to entropy's effects on a grand scale. Consider this. Imagine you drop a glass of water. It shatters and spills everywhere, increasing entropy in the process. It's highly unlikely that the glass will spontaneously reassemble itself. However, if you zoom in on the individual glass shards and water droplets, the fundamental physics allow for the possibility of time moving backward. It's only when you look at the entire system that you see the arrow of time at play. Scientists have also examined how the arrow of time connects to the universe itself. The Big Bang Theory posits that the universe began in a state of very low entropy, highly ordered. Over billions of years, as the universe has expanded, entropy has risen. This ongoing increase in entropy might shed light on why time seems to flow in one direction, because the universe is always moving from order to disorder. Now, what do we envision for the future? Some scientists speculate that the universe may one day achieve a state of maximum entropy, where everything becomes completely disordered and nothing changes. This hypothetical situation, often referred to as heat death, could mean that the concept of time's arrow might no longer hold any significance, as everything would be in a state of stasis. When we think about time, it's easy to see it as a straight line stretching from the past through the present and into the future. Yet, some theories suggest there's no strict difference between these moments. In fact, scientists have pondered whether it's possible for time to flow backward under specific conditions. For instance, in certain discussions about black holes and quantum physics, time appears to act in unexpected ways. Some even speculate about the existence of parallel universes where time flows in reverse. While these ideas are intriguing, they remain subjects of exploration and debate. The distinction between time's arrow, our everyday understanding of time, and reversible physics goes beyond just scientific inquiry. It influences how we live our lives. Take memories, for example. They serve as markers of our past, helping us recall events that happened yesterday, but they don't provide insight into the future. This connection ties back to the concept of entropy, which suggests that as the universe becomes more disordered, so does the information our brains process and store. Aging illustrates this concept well. Our bodies undergo irreversible changes as time moves forward. Even though we experience time as a clear progression, it's fascinating to consider that the fundamental rules of the universe might allow for other possibilities. The interplay between time's arrow and these reversible physics concepts serves as a reminder that our perceptions aren't the entire story. Underneath it all, the universe is full of mysteries waiting to be unveiled. As we delve into the theory of the multiverse, we encounter one of the most captivating concepts in science and philosophy. The multiverse suggests that our universe, with all its galaxies, stars, and planets, may not be the only one in existence. Instead, there could be many other universes, each operating under its own unique set of rules and possibilities. Collectively, these universes comprise what we refer to as the multiverse. At first glance, the idea of multiple universes may seem like a plot twist straight out of a science fiction novel. However, it's also a serious scientific notion supported by some advanced theories in physics. To understand the multiverse better, envision our own universe, expansive and rich, filled with countless celestial bodies, all existing within the framework of space and time. What if there's more beyond what we can currently perceive? Imagine our universe as just one bubble among many in a vast collection. Each bubble represents its own universe, distinct and separate from ours. This is one way to visualize the concept of the multiverse. There are several theories about how the multiverse might operate, one of which stems from the Big Bang Theory. This theory suggests that our universe began as a tiny, incredibly dense point and has been expanding ever since. Some interpretations propose that this expansion could repeat, leading to the creation of new universes each time. This process, sometimes referred to as eternal inflation, implies that new universes might be generated continuously, each existing independently. Another interesting idea comes from quantum mechanics, the field of physics that explores the behavior of tiny particles. In quantum mechanics, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, a phenomenon known as superposition. When you measure a particle, it chooses one state. Some scientists speculate that this could mean the universe splits into different versions for every possible outcome. For instance, if you flip a coin, one universe might emerge where it lands on heads, while another exists where it lands on tails. This theory is called the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. We also see the multiverse concept in theories related to string theory, which aims to connect all the forces and particles in the universe. String theory posits that there could be extra dimensions beyond the familiar 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. These extra dimensions could potentially give rise to other universes that follow entirely different physical laws. If the multiverse does exist, it opens up fascinating possibilities. For instance, there could be universes where fundamental aspects differ significantly from what we experience. In some, gravity might be stronger or weaker, or perhaps stars don't exist at all. There might even be universes where life has evolved in unimaginable ways, or where the constants of nature, such as the speed of light, are altered. The multiverse could also shed light on profound questions about our own universe. A common puzzle for scientists is why the physical laws here seem perfectly suited for life. If certain values, like the strength of gravity, were even slightly different, it's likely that stars and planets wouldn't have formed, making life as we know it impossible. This dilemma is often referred to as the fine-tuning problem. The concept of the multiverse offers a potential explanation, suggesting that our universe is just one of many, each with its own unique conditions. If there are countless universes with different laws, it makes sense that we find ourselves in one where conditions are suitable for life. After all, we wouldn't be able to ponder these questions if things were different. However, the concept of a multiverse also brings challenges. A major point of debate is whether we can ever prove that it exists. By its very nature, other universes in the multiverse would be separate from ours, which means we might not be able to observe or measure them without direct evidence. So far, the multiverse remains a fascinating hypothesis, but it lacks confirmation. Scientists are actively seeking clues to support this idea. One approach they are using involves studying the cosmic microwave background, CMB, the faint glow that remains from the Big Bang. If our universe has interacted with other universes in the past, those collisions might leave detectable marks on the CMB. As of now, however, no clear evidence has emerged from this search, but researchers remain hopeful. The multiverse concept also invites us to ponder philosophical questions. If numerous universes exist, what does that imply about our place in the cosmos? Are we just a tiny component of a much grander picture? Moreover, if versions of ourselves exist in other universes, how does this affect our sense of identity and free will? These inquiries don't yield simple answers, yet they encourage us to rethink our understanding of reality. Another intriguing question is whether the multiverse has a beginning or an end. If universes are continually being created, does that mean the multiverse itself is infinite? And if it is infinite, does that imply every possible version of events must occur somewhere? While these ideas can be difficult to comprehend, they highlight just how much there is to discover about existence. In essence, the multiverse is more than just an abstract idea. It serves as a gateway to exploring some of the greatest mysteries in science. By considering other universes, scientists are pushing the limits of our knowledge regarding space, time, and reality. Even if we do not find direct evidence of the multiverse, our efforts to study it enhance our understanding of our own universe and our role within it. Regardless of whether the multiverse actually exists, the idea itself ignites curiosity and wonder. It suggests that the universe we see might be just a fragment of a much more intricate and expansive reality. By continuing to ask questions and explore possibilities, we broaden our understanding of the cosmos and our place within it. Understanding how we view our place in society is one of the intriguing aspects of human behavior. The conversation around individualism and collectivism highlights how people balance personal freedom with the needs of the group. These two perspectives significantly influence cultures, communities, and relationships in various ways. Let's simplify these ideas to see what they mean and how they impact our daily lives. Individualism emphasizes the importance of the individual. In individualist societies, people tend to focus on personal goals, choices, and achievements. The belief here is that everyone should have the freedom to carve out their own paths and make their own decisions. This perspective values independence and self-reliance. For instance, someone living in an individualist culture might choose to move to a different city for a better job, prioritizing their career over staying close to family. In this case, personal success is viewed as more important than lifelong ties to their hometown. On the flip side, collectivism underscores the idea that the group holds greater importance than the individual. In collectivist cultures, there's a strong emphasis on meeting the needs of the family, community, or society. The belief is that when people work together and support one another, the entire group becomes stronger. For example, in a collectivist setting, an individual might choose to stay in their hometown to care for aging parents or support a family business, even if they have personal aspirations to move away. Both individualism and collectivism have their merits and challenges, and it's important to recognize that neither is inherently superior. Instead, they represent different ways of thinking about interpersonal relationships. One advantage of individualism is that it promotes personal freedom and creativity. In such environments, individuals are free to pursue their interests, make their own choices, and express themselves, which can foster innovation. For instance, in an individualist culture, a person might start their own business or chase an artistic dream, even if it involves significant risks. The focus on personal responsibility also encourages hard work and self-achievement. However, individualism can present drawbacks as well. When individuals concentrate solely on their own desires, it may lead to feelings of isolation or diminished community support. For example, a person who prioritizes their career may find themselves distancing from their loved ones, missing out on the support and connections that come from a tight-knit community. As we explore these concepts further, consider how they apply to your own experiences and surroundings. How do individualism and collectivism shape your view of community and personal goals? Many people find themselves feeling lonely if they don't keep up close relationships with family or friends. In some cases, a focus on individualism can lead to unhealthy competition. When individuals become too focused on being the best, they might overlook the importance of working together. On the other hand, collectivism offers its own strengths by emphasizing teamwork, loyalty, and the idea that people should support one another. In collectivist cultures, relationships tend to be very strong because individuals often prioritize helping their families, friends, and communities. For instance, in such a society, you might see groups coming together to celebrate festivals or support a community member in need. This emphasis on the group can foster a deep sense of belonging and purpose. However, there are drawbacks to collectivism as well. When the needs of the group take precedence, individuals might feel pressured to sacrifice their own dreams or preferences. Imagine someone in a collectivist culture who feels they cannot pursue a career they love because their family expects them to take on a different role. In extreme situations, this pressure can lead to conformity, where individuals may feel they have to act or think a certain way just to fit in, even if it doesn't reflect their true selves. These two ways of thinking aren't limited to cultures. They also appear in everyday situations. In an individualist workplace, for example, employees may be rewarded for their personal achievements. Promotions often go to those who stand out or excel individually. In contrast, at a collectivist workplace, the emphasis might be on teamwork and cooperation, where success is measured by how well the entire team performs, not just one person. In families, the balance between individualism and collectivism can vary significantly based on cultural context. In an individualist family, a young adult might decide to move out as soon as possible, valuing their independence. Conversely, in a collectivist family, the same individual might choose to stay with their parents longer, helping with household responsibilities and prioritizing the family unit over personal freedom. To understand these differing perspectives, consider how success is defined. In individualist cultures, success often revolves around personal achievement, landing a good job, earning money, or gaining recognition for one's skills. Meanwhile, in collectivist cultures, success might be measured by how much one has helped their family or contributed to their community. Both viewpoints hold value, though they highlight different aspects of what it means to be successful. It's important to recognize that no culture fits neatly into the categories of individualism or collectivism. Most societies blend aspects of both. Consider a country that values individual freedom, especially in career choices, but places great importance on collective obligations regarding family. Similarly, individuals often navigate these concepts in their own lives. For instance, someone might chase personal ambitions while still making time to support family and friends. The discussion around individualism and collectivism isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about striking a balance. There are moments when focusing on personal goals is essential, such as when considering a career path. Conversely, when a friend is facing difficulties, prioritizing their needs by offering help becomes just as crucial. Both individualism and collectivism teach valuable lessons. Individualism encourages us to appreciate personal freedom, take responsibility for our decisions, and foster creativity. On the other hand, collectivism highlights the significance of community, teamwork, and caring for others. By understanding both viewpoints, we can better navigate our personal needs alongside the needs of those around us. Ultimately, this conversation challenges us to reflect on our responsibilities to ourselves and to others. Exploring these ideas can help us build a world where both individuals and communities flourish. Now, let's shift our focus to the balance between tradition and progress. This debate involves weighing the value of old customs against the need for new ideas. Tradition cherishes practices, systems, and beliefs passed down through generations, while progress emphasizes innovation and change. Each holds importance, yet they can often collide, leading to questions about which should take precedence. Tradition is about preserving what has come before. It clings to practices that have stood the test of time, offering people a sense of stability and identity. This can manifest in simple ways, like celebrating a holiday in a familiar manner, or in more complex rituals tied to cultural or religious heritage. For many, traditions create a connection to their ancestors and a sense of belonging. When individuals wear traditional clothing at weddings or gather to share a holiday meal, they honor their past and strengthen community ties. Engaging in shared customs fosters a feeling of unity, reminding us of our collective identity. Being part of something larger than themselves can forge strong connections within families, communities, and cultures. Take, for example, a town festival held every year. This event brings people together, reminding them of shared values and a common history. On the flip side, progress is about moving forward and discovering better ways to do things. It emphasizes improvement, whether through new technology, innovative ideas, or enhanced lifestyles. Progress often challenges traditional ways of thinking, prompting us to consider if these practices still make sense in today's world. For instance, it could involve developing new medical treatments or enacting laws that promote equality and fairness. Progress addresses issues that traditions might overlook. It's why we have advancements like electricity, vaccines, and quicker modes of transportation. It also inspires critical thinking and imaginative possibilities. Consider how questioning old social norms has led to greater rights for women, broader acceptance of diverse cultures, and new approaches to education. However, a clash often emerges between tradition and progress when either side feels threatened. Those who cherish tradition might view progress as disrespectful or risky, fearing that change could erode the bonds that unite their communities. Conversely, individuals focused on progress may see tradition as outdated or restrictive, believing it hinders society's evolution. Picture a small town where farming has been a way of life for generations. Families have passed down farming techniques and cherish the values tied to hard work in the land. Then, a company introduces advanced farming technology that could simplify tasks and boost crop yields. Some residents may embrace this as exciting progress, eager for the benefits it brings. Others might feel apprehensive, worried that embracing machines could overshadow the skills and traditions that define their lifestyle. This tension is also reflected in how communities celebrate their traditions in a changing world. Many cultures have traditional clothing or festivals that have been integral to their identity for centuries. As globalization increases, there's a tendency to blend these traditions with modern styles or new customs. For some, this fusion embodies progress, showcasing how cultures can adapt. For others, it raises concerns about losing something precious. In families, finding a balance between tradition and progress can indeed pose challenges. How might your own experiences reflect this dynamic? Many parents want to pass down their customs and values, while younger generations often seek to forge their own paths. For example, a family might have a tradition of preparing specific dishes for holidays, but younger family members may prefer exploring new recipes or celebrating in different ways. Striking a balance between honoring the past and embracing new ideas can be challenging, but it can also bring great rewards. Traditions can provide valuable guidance, especially during uncertain times. When people face difficult decisions, they often turn to traditions for support. Take significant life events, such as weddings or funerals. Traditional practices around these occasions help give structure and meaning to moments that can otherwise feel overwhelming. Moreover, traditions often carry timeless wisdom, like cherished old recipes or proven farming techniques that can still be relevant today. However, traditions aren't without their flaws. Some may cling to outdated ideas or practices that no longer serve everyone well. For instance, traditions that exclude certain groups or promote unfair roles can feel irrelevant or even harmful in today's more inclusive society. It's where progress steps in, challenging these outdated practices in the quest for improvement. Yet, progress can be a double-edged sword. While it brings about significant advancements, it can also lead to unpredictability and unforeseen consequences. New technologies can certainly enhance our lives, but they may also create issues like environmental harm or social isolation. Furthermore, rapid progress can leave some people behind, especially if they lack the means to adapt. The conversation between tradition and progress isn't necessarily about choosing one over the other. It's about finding a balance. Traditions connect us to our roots and remind us of our shared values, while progress encourages us to adapt and build a better future. The challenge lies in respecting the wisdom of the past while remaining open to new ideas. For instance, a community might honor its history by hosting traditional festivals, while also incorporating modern technology to reach a wider audience. Similarly, a family could preserve beloved recipes while experimenting with new twists that cater to contemporary tastes. These strategies illustrate how tradition and progress can complement each other rather than conflict. Ultimately, this discussion revolves around growing while staying rooted. Traditions give us a sense of identity, helping us remember who we are and what matters to us. In contrast, progress lifts us, enabling us to dream and create a better future. By valuing both, we can cultivate a world that respects our past while looking forward. The discussion around globalization and nationalism centers on how individuals perceive their relationship with the world versus their commitment to their own country. Globalization emphasizes the importance of connecting economies and cultures, creating a more integrated global community. In contrast, nationalism highlights the significance of national pride, protecting a country's interests and preserving its distinct identity. Both concepts have their merits, yet they often conflict. Globalization involves breaking down barriers, allowing countries and people to interact more freely through trade, communication, and travel. To illustrate, consider when you purchase a smartphone. It might be designed in one nation, assembled in another, and use components sourced from several different countries. This kind of global collaboration fosters business growth, spreads innovative ideas, and allows individuals to engage with products and cultures worldwide. One significant advantage of globalization is economic growth. Through trade, businesses can access larger markets, leading to job creation and increased consumer choices. Take fruits like bananas or avocados, for example. They may not be grown locally, but global trade ensures they are available year-round at affordable prices. Moreover, globalization encourages the exchange of ideas and cultures. The internet has revolutionized how we connect, making it easier for music, movies, food, and fashion from one region to gain popularity in another. This cultural sharing can foster greater understanding and appreciation among diverse populations. However, globalization is not without its challenges. A notable downside is the potential for economic inequality. While some individuals and companies flourish in a global market, others may struggle. Small local businesses often find it difficult to compete with large international corporations, and jobs can be relocated overseas, leaving some communities without opportunities. Consequently, many people feel neglected by the rapid pace of globalization. Additionally, there is a risk of losing cultural identity. When global trends dominate, smaller or more traditional cultures may feel overshadowed. For instance, local languages, customs, or artistic expressions might be replaced by global ones, prompting concerns over the loss of what makes a culture unique. On the other hand, nationalism promotes a focus on one's own country. This perspective centers around protecting national interests and fostering pride in one's heritage. It raises the question, how do we balance the benefits of a connected world with the need to cherish and protect our local identities? The idea that a nation should prioritize its own people while safeguarding its traditions, values, and interests is known as nationalism. This belief often fosters a sense of pride in a country's history and accomplishments. For instance, people might celebrate national holidays, support local businesses, or choose homegrown products as ways to express their national identity. One of the strengths of nationalism is its ability to foster unity. When citizens feel a strong connection to their country, they may be more inclined to collaborate on solving problems or achieving common goals. Take, for example, a nation coming together to rebuild after a natural disaster. The shared identity and determination of its people can be a powerful motivator. Nationalism can also protect local cultures and industries by highlighting what makes a country unique. In an increasingly globalized world, it plays a vital role in preserving traditions and values that might otherwise fade away. A government might, for instance, support local farmers or artists to maintain traditional practices and promote cultural heritage. However, nationalism isn't without its drawbacks. When taken to extremes, it can lead to isolation or conflict. A country that focuses exclusively on itself might limit trade and cooperation with others, which can negatively impact its economy and reduce access to essential resources. Furthermore, extreme nationalism has the potential to heighten tensions between nations, especially when countries fiercely compete for resources like oil or water, leading to disputes or even warfare. Nationalism can also complicate efforts to tackle global issues, such as climate change, that necessitate international collaboration. The ongoing tension between globalization and nationalism often hinges on differing priorities. Globalization stresses the advantages of cooperation and the sharing of resources, while nationalism centers on protecting local interests. For instance, in trade agreements, globalization tends to emphasize creating rules that benefit multiple countries. In contrast, nationalism may favor policies that safeguard jobs and industries within the nation. This debate extends to immigration as well. Globalization encourages the movement of people, allowing workers and students to cross borders in search of new opportunities. On the other hand, nationalism often argues for limiting immigration to protect jobs and resources for the country's citizens. Both sides present valid perspectives, and finding a balance between them can be quite challenging. Even in cultural matters, this tension is apparent, as globalization promotes the exchange and sharing of ideas, while nationalism often prioritizes local customs and traditions. Cultures have the ability to blend and learn from each other, creating a rich tapestry of shared experiences. However, nationalism often focuses on preserving traditions and limiting outside influences. For instance, while global music and fashion trends can unite people, they may also lead some to feel that their own customs are being overshadowed. It's essential to recognize that globalization and nationalism are not strictly opposites. A country can embrace aspects of globalization while still cherishing its national identity. Consider a nation engaging in international trade. It might share its unique culture with the world while also celebrating local traditions and protecting its industries. The key is to strike a balance that benefits both the nation and the global community. This balance is evident in fair trade agreements, which aim to foster global connections while safeguarding workers and the environment. Cultural events, such as international film festivals, offer another example, allowing countries to present their stories while showcasing their distinct voices. At the heart of the discussion between globalization and nationalism lies how individuals perceive their place in the world. Globalization highlights our interconnectedness and the importance of collaboration in addressing common challenges and creating opportunities. Conversely, nationalism underscores the significance of local communities, traditions, and the need to support our own people. By appreciating both viewpoints, we can work towards a future where countries collaborate and connect while honoring their unique identities. Globalization and nationalism need not be adversaries. They can coexist to cultivate a world that values both global unity and local distinctiveness. Achieving this balance can be challenging, but through open dialogue and mutual understanding, we can discover pathways that benefit everyone. Now, shifting our focus to the debate between equality and equity, we can explore how fairness is established in our society. Although these concepts often overlap, they are not synonymous, and grasping this distinction is crucial when discussing justice, opportunity, and support for success. Equality refers to treating everyone the same, meaning that all individuals should have the same rights, opportunities, and resources, irrespective of their circumstances. For example, in a classroom setting, equality might imply that every student receives the same textbook and has access to the same educational resources. When we talk about fairness, we often think about treating everyone the same. This idea is known as equality. In contrast, equity is about giving people the specific support they need to thrive. It acknowledges that fairness can sometimes require different treatments, as everyone comes from different backgrounds and faces unique challenges. Let's consider a classroom to understand this better. If a student is struggling with reading, equity might mean providing them with additional help or resources. Similarly, if a student has hearing loss, giving them a hearing aid would be an example of equity in action. It's all about recognizing that some individuals need more assistance to achieve similar results. The distinction between equality and equity really hinges on understanding people's circumstances. Picture a race where all the runners start at the same line, but one competitor has a sprained ankle. If we apply equality, everyone receives the same chance to run. However, this doesn't address the disadvantage of the injured runner. In terms of equity, we would offer that runner extra time or support to help balance the competition. One appealing aspect of equality is its simplicity. It feels fair at first glance. Treating everyone the same seems like the right path, particularly when it comes to laws and regulations. For instance, voting rights that should apply equally to everyone, regardless of their background. Yet equality doesn't always create fairness. If people are facing different obstacles, treating them identically might not yield the same results. For example, if we provide the same resources to those who have advantages and those who are struggling, we may inadvertently widen the gap between them. This is where we see the importance of equity. It recognizes that fairness might mean offering more support to those who need it the most, understanding that not everyone starts off on the same footing. In the realm of healthcare, equity could mean allocating additional resources to communities facing higher health issues or limited access to medical care. In education, it might involve directing more funding to schools in low-income areas, ensuring all students have a fair chance to succeed. However, implementing equity can be more complex. It demands a closer look at individual needs and thoughtful decisions about resource distribution. Some may feel that focusing on equity could be unfair, especially if they don't grasp why certain groups receive additional support. Understanding these nuances is vital as we work toward creating a more just society. Support for underrepresented groups in the workplace often includes providing extra training opportunities. While this aims to create a balanced and fair environment, some employees might feel overlooked. This highlights an important discussion about equality and equity in workplace policies. Let's break it down with a concrete example. Think about a scholarship program. Equality would mean allowing all students to apply and using the same criteria for everyone. Equity, on the other hand, would prioritize students from disadvantaged backgrounds who encounter more barriers to college access. Both approaches seek fairness, but in different ways. Now imagine a community park. If each neighborhood receives the same-sized park, it may not feel fair when some neighborhoods already have spacious parks, while others have none. In this case, equity would mean allocating more resources to those without parks, ensuring everyone has access to green spaces. The discussion between equality and equity isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about recognizing when each approach is most suitable. In certain situations, equality is effective. For instance, everyone should have the same legal rights, such as the right to vote or free speech. In other cases, equity becomes essential to address existing imbalances, ensuring everyone can achieve the same results. It's also worth noting that equality and equity can complement each other. In education, for example, equality means providing all students with access to qualified teachers and schools. Equity takes it further by offering additional support to students who may need it, such as tutoring or access to technology. By merging both concepts, we can build systems that are fair for everyone. This debate encourages us to explore deeper questions about our understanding of fairness. Should fairness be defined by offering everyone identical opportunities, or is it about ensuring that everyone achieves similar outcomes? People may have different perspectives based on their experiences and values. Ultimately, the conversation surrounding equality versus equity invites us to think critically about fairness and justice. It reminds us that treating everyone the same may seem straightforward, but true fairness often involves acknowledging the unique challenges individuals face. By understanding these differences, we can work towards a world where everyone has an opportunity to succeed. The debate between freedom and security revolves around finding the right balance between two important needs. Freedom means having the ability to make choices and live without unnecessary restrictions, while security refers to protection from harm or threats. Both of these elements are crucial, but they can sometimes conflict with one another. How much freedom should we give up to feel safe? And how much security should we sacrifice to maintain our freedom? These questions impact individuals, communities, and entire nations. At its core, freedom is about personal choice and independence. It allows you to decide how to live your life without interference from others, including the government. For example, freedom gives you the right to choose your job, express your opinions, and move around as you please. Many societies value this freedom because it empowers individuals to take control of their own lives. However, freedom also carries risks. When everyone has the liberty to make their own choices, some may act in ways that can be harmful. Consider a world without traffic laws. While people could drive as they wish, the result would likely be chaos and accidents. This is where security plays a vital role. Security ensures that people are protected from harm and that society can function smoothly. Security measures include laws and regulations designed to maintain order. For instance, requiring seatbelts in cars and setting speed limits are safety measures aimed at reducing injury and death. While these rules might limit our freedom in slight ways, they ultimately enhance safety for everyone. The challenge arises because increasing security often requires a reduction in freedom. Take, for example, the installation of surveillance cameras in public spaces. While these cameras can reduce crime, they might also make people feel that their privacy is being compromised. On the flip side, placing too much emphasis on freedom can lead to situations where safety is jeopardized. If people had unrestricted rights to carry weapons, for instance, it could result in increased violence and create an atmosphere of fear for others. This tension is particularly evident in how governments respond to threats like terrorism and crime. After significant events that pose risks to public safety, governments often implement new security measures, such as stricter airport screenings or surveillance programs. While these measures can enhance feelings of safety, they also bring up important questions about privacy and freedom. For example, should authorities be allowed to monitor phone calls or emails in the name of security? These considerations remind us that finding harmony between freedom and security is an ongoing challenge that requires careful thought. There's an ongoing debate about the need for surveillance to catch criminals. Some believe it's essential for safety, while others feel it infringes on their privacy. This tension between freedom and security can also be seen in everyday situations, like school environments. Schools often implement strict rules to ensure student safety, such as requiring IDs or prohibiting certain items. While these measures may limit some freedoms, they can make everyone feel more secure. The challenge lies in determining how strict those rules should be and whether they are overly restrictive. One of the key benefits of freedom is that it fosters creativity, independence, and responsibility. When individuals have the freedom to make their own choices, they can explore new ideas, take risks, and express themselves. For instance, freedom of speech allows people to share their opinions, even if they're not popular. This kind of openness promotes innovation, since individuals aren't afraid to think outside the box or question outdated ideas. However, freedom without security can lead to unease. In areas with weak law enforcement, people might hesitate to venture out or try new things due to safety concerns. Security provides a crucial foundation for freedom to flourish. When people feel secure, they are more inclined to use their freedoms positively. On the flip side, an excessive focus on security can create its own issues. When governments or organizations prioritize safety at all costs, they risk implementing strict regulations that restrict personal rights. For example, if a government censors the internet to prevent harmful content, it may also unintentionally block access to valuable information or inhibit free speech. In extreme scenarios, such measures can pave the way for authoritarianism, where leaders limit freedoms under the guise of security. The balance between freedom and security is often context-dependent. During crises, such as a war or natural disaster, people might be more willing to accept limitations on their freedoms in the name of safety. Consider how, during a pandemic, many governments imposed lockdowns or vaccination requirements to safeguard public health. While these actions limited individual freedoms, they were aimed at saving lives. This raises important questions. How much restriction is justified, and how long should these measures remain in place? In our daily lives, we frequently negotiate between freedom and security. For instance, when you lock your doors at night, you're choosing to give up the freedom of an open home for the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are more secure. Reflecting on this balance can lead to a deeper understanding of how we navigate our own freedoms in relation to the security we desire. When you share personal information online to access certain services, you're trading some privacy for convenience. This raises an important question. How do we find the right balance between freedom and security? There isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. Different societies have unique values and challenges that influence this balance. Some people lean toward greater freedom, believing individuals should have as much control over their lives as possible. Others place a higher priority on security, feeling that safety and order are more important than unrestrained freedom. This ongoing debate often centers around trust. People are generally more willing to accept security measures when they trust that those in authority are using them responsibly. For instance, if a government is open about the reasons behind a new law and how it aims to protect people's rights, citizens are more likely to support it. Without trust, even well-meaning security measures can feel oppressive. At its core, balancing freedom and security means creating a society where people feel both safe and empowered. Freedom allows individuals to pursue their goals, make choices, and express themselves. On the other hand, security provides the stability needed to enjoy those freedoms. By carefully considering the trade-offs and listening to various viewpoints, we can work toward ensuring that both freedom and security are valued and protected. Now let's turn to a different but related discussion: optimism versus pessimism. This debate is about how individuals view their world and future. Optimism is the belief that things will work out for the best, even during tough times. In contrast, pessimism leans towards the idea that things are likely to go wrong or that solutions to problems will be hard to find. Both perspectives shape how people approach life, tackle challenges, and interact with others. Optimism is often described as seeing the glass as half full. Those who are optimistic tend to find opportunities in tough situations and believe their efforts can lead to positive outcomes. For example, if someone were to lose a job, an optimist might view this as a chance to explore a new career path or acquire new skills. This positive outlook can be a strong motivator. It encourages people to take action and persist, even when faced with uncertainty. Moreover, research indicates that optimism can lead to benefits for both mental and physical health, with optimistic individuals often showing better recovery rates from setbacks. People cope with stress and forge strong relationships in various ways. One benefit of optimism is that it encourages individuals to focus on solutions instead of dwelling on problems. For instance, consider someone facing a challenging project at work. An optimistic person might break the project into smaller, manageable tasks rather than feeling overwhelmed by its complexity. However, it's essential to recognize that optimism isn't flawless. Sometimes, being overly optimistic can lead to overlooking risks or underestimating challenges. For example, if someone assumes that everything will turn out just fine without proper planning or preparation, they might find themselves unprepared when things go awry. This type of thinking is often called blind optimism, where unrealistic positivity can create more issues than it solves. On the other hand, pessimism involves anticipating the worst or focusing on potential problems. Pessimists tend to consider what could go wrong and prepare for it, which can be beneficial in certain situations. For instance, someone planning a trip might double-check their itinerary, pack extra supplies, and consider what to do if unexpected challenges arise. This careful approach can help them avoid problems that a more carefree individual might miss. Pessimism can also help in managing expectations. By expecting less, pessimists might feel less disappointment if things don't go as planned. For example, if a student is unsure about their performance on an exam, they might prepare for a low grade. If they end up doing better than anticipated, they can feel pleasantly surprised instead of let down. However, excessive focus on potential negatives can lead to stress, anxiety, and a sense of hopelessness. A pessimistic mindset can discourage people from taking risks or exploring new opportunities. For instance, someone who doubts their skills might hesitate to apply for a job they're interested in, missing out on a great chance. In reality, most of us don't fit neatly into the categories of optimist or pessimist. We often find ourselves somewhere in the middle. People may feel hopeful about certain aspects of their lives, like relationships, but be more pessimistic about others, such as finances. How we view a situation can really depend on our past experiences, personalities, and the unique challenges we face. It's the balance between optimism and pessimism that is crucial. Optimism can keep us hopeful and motivated, while a dose of realism can help us prepare for the unexpected. By understanding this balance, we can navigate life's challenges more effectively. Pessimism can encourage us to be cautious and prepare for potential challenges. When combined with optimism, these viewpoints help us face life with a blend of confidence and realism. Take, for instance, someone starting a new business. They might embrace optimism to envision their dream and take necessary risks, while using pessimism to carefully plan for any hurdles they might encounter. Imagine a team tackling a significant project. The optimists might highlight exciting possibilities and motivate everyone to reach for ambitious goals. In contrast, the pessimists could identify potential pitfalls and suggest ways to mitigate risks. This combination creates a balanced strategy that is both bold and sensible. The interplay of optimism and pessimism extends to personal relationships too. Optimists can infuse positivity and support into friendships or partnerships, which helps others feel encouraged. Conversely, pessimists contribute a more realistic viewpoint, prompting their loved ones to think critically about important choices. When these perspectives complement each other, they lay the groundwork for stronger and more supportive connections. It's also essential to recognize that our outlooks can shift over time. Individuals who achieve success may feel more optimistic, while those enduring repeated setbacks might find themselves leaning toward pessimism. Various factors, including life experiences, health, and the people we surround ourselves with, can shape our perspectives. For example, spending time with optimistic friends can foster a more positive mindset, while negativity in one's environment might prompt a more pessimistic view. Both optimism and pessimism impart valuable insights. Optimism encourages us to seek the positives in situations, believe in our ability to overcome challenges, and keep pushing forward. It reminds us that even during tough times, there's often a way to improve our circumstances. On the flip side, pessimism teaches us to be cautious, prepare for possible setbacks, and thoughtfully consider risks. It serves as a reminder that not everything will go as planned, making it crucial to have a backup strategy. The goal is to strike a balance that suits you. Excessive optimism may leave you unprepared, while too much pessimism can be a barrier to progress. By blending the strengths of both perspectives, you can navigate life with hope, all while staying rooted in reality. Regardless of whether you naturally gravitate toward optimism or pessimism, both viewpoints possess valuable lessons. Together, they guide us through life's challenges and help us forge a path forward. Cognitive dissonance, or the discomfort we feel when holding contradictory beliefs, can also play a role in this mix. Cognitive dissonance is the uncomfortable feeling we experience when our thoughts, beliefs, or actions don't quite fit together. It creates a mental tension that arises when we hold two conflicting ideas, or when what we do doesn't match up with what we believe. This concept helps us understand why people sometimes make choices that seem illogical, or why they find it hard to decide on certain matters. For instance, think of someone who values healthy eating but often finds themselves reaching for junk food. They understand the importance of good nutrition for their well-being, yet they might be drawn to the convenience and taste of fast food. This clash between wanting to eat healthily and actually indulging in junk food creates that sense of cognitive dissonance, a mental discomfort that many of us experience from time to time. Cognitive dissonance is a universal experience. It's part of being human, as we frequently encounter scenarios where our beliefs, actions, or values aren't perfectly aligned. When this happens, it's natural to feel uneasy, and the way we respond to that discomfort can reveal a lot about our thinking and behavior. One way to address cognitive dissonance is by changing our behavior to align with our beliefs. Taking our earlier example, the individual who wants to eat healthily might begin cooking more meals at home instead of opting for takeout. By doing this, they reduce that uncomfortable tension and bring their actions in line with their values. Alternatively, some may adjust their beliefs to suit their actions, especially when changing behavior feels daunting. In this case, the same person might rationalize their love for junk food by saying, "It's okay as long as I balance it with exercise." By altering their belief, they make their choices seem less contradictory. Another method for reducing cognitive dissonance is by introducing new justifications or thoughts. For instance, they might think, "I'm really busy, so fast food is the best option for me right now." These justifications can alleviate discomfort without necessitating a major change. Cognitive dissonance can occur in various aspects of life, from minor decisions to significant choices. Consider someone who buys an expensive car. If they start to question whether the price was worth it, they might feel cognitive dissonance. To cope, they might focus on the car's positive attributes, such as its safety features or stylish design, convincing themselves it was a wise investment. The same principle applies in relationships. If there's a discrepancy between how one feels and how one acts toward a partner, it can lead to feelings of discomfort. How we navigate these situations can tell us a lot about our values and priorities. Reflecting on our own responses to cognitive dissonance can provide valuable insights into our behavior and decision-making processes. When someone values honesty but finds themselves lying to a friend, they might feel a sense of internal conflict. To cope with this discomfort, they may justify their lie by telling themselves it was just a small one and that they didn't want to hurt their friend's feelings. These kinds of inner struggles happen to many of us. They highlight our efforts to maintain a positive self-image. Cognitive dissonance, the feeling of unease when our actions don't match our beliefs, can also appear in our social and political lives. For instance, if someone firmly supports a politician but learns of a mistake that politician made, they might experience a similar discomfort. To resolve this feeling, they could downplay the mistake or emphasize the politician's positive achievements instead. This is a normal response, but it shows how much we crave consistency between our beliefs and the information we encounter. Interestingly, cognitive dissonance isn't solely a negative experience. It can also be a catalyst for positive change. Consider someone who cares about the environment but realizes they aren't recycling. The uncomfortable feeling of dissonance might inspire them to start recycling or cut back on waste. This shift helps bring their actions in line with their values, creating a sense of harmony. However, sometimes cognitive dissonance can lead to stubbornness. Rather than confronting uncomfortable truths or changing their beliefs, some people might cling more tightly to their existing views. For example, if someone refuses to accept a fact because it contradicts their worldview, they may avoid the discomfort. Yet, in doing so, they risk missing valuable opportunities to expand their understanding. Psychologists first explored cognitive dissonance in the 1950s. One notable study had participants perform a tedious task and then tell others it was enjoyable. Some participants received a small payment while others got more. Surprisingly, those who were paid less were more likely to convince themselves the task was fun. Why did this happen? The small payment didn't justify the lie to others, so they adjusted their beliefs to reduce their discomfort about the situation. Recognizing cognitive dissonance helps us understand why people sometimes make unexpected or seemingly irrational choices. It reveals our strong desire for alignment in our thoughts and actions. When our internal world feels out of sync, we're naturally compelled to reconcile it, even if it means adjusting our beliefs, behaviors, or perspectives. This concept can be valuable not just in understanding ourselves, but also in appreciating the complexities of human behavior. Understanding cognitive dissonance can be valuable not only in psychology, but also in our daily lives. It helps explain why we sometimes feel torn between our beliefs and actions. When you notice these conflicting feelings, consider it a chance for reflection. Ask yourself, are my actions in line with my values? If they're not, think about steps you can take to bring them into harmony. Being honest with ourselves is a pathway to growth and making choices that truly resonate with us. Cognitive dissonance also teaches us to be patient and understanding with others. If someone's behavior appears inconsistent, it's possible they're dealing with their own dissonance. Recognizing this might help us approach situations with empathy rather than judgment. Ultimately, cognitive dissonance is a normal part of life. It shows that we care about being true to ourselves. While it can be uncomfortable, this dissonance often pushes us toward change and self-improvement. By grasping how it functions, we can leverage it to make better decisions and steer our lives toward a more balanced and authentic existence. Now let's delve into the relationship between rationality and emotion, crucial aspects of how we make choices and navigate our lives. Rationality is rooted in logic, reason, and careful analysis. We use it to guide our decisions. Emotion, in contrast, is driven by our feelings, instincts, and gut reactions. Both are important, but can sometimes lead us in different directions. Rationality encourages clear thinking and decisions based on facts and evidence. For example, when choosing a car, you might look at comparisons of prices, fuel efficiency, and safety ratings. This careful approach helps us avoid snap judgments and focus on what benefits us in the long run. One of the key advantages of rationality is that it keeps us grounded. By sticking to objective facts, we can steer clear of being influenced by fleeting emotions or biases. This is particularly useful in complex situations like budgeting or problem-solving at work. Rational thinking allows us to maintain perspective and make practical, effective choices. However, rationality does have its limits. Life isn't always straightforward, and not every decision can be boiled down to cold, hard facts. Sometimes, overanalyzing can lead to what's known as paralysis by analysis, where we find ourselves stuck, weighing every possible option and struggling to choose a path forward. Reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by too many choices? This can be a real challenge that many of us face. When planning a vacation, it's common to spend a lot of time comparing hotels and flights. In the process, you might miss out on booking a fantastic deal. Now let's talk about emotions. These feelings, like love, fear, joy, and anger, influence our actions and the way we connect with people. For example, if you feel excited about a new opportunity, that excitement might encourage you to take a chance and try something new. Emotions add depth and meaning to our choices. They help us connect to our values, build relationships, and experience life more fully. Think about choosing a career. It's not just about salary or job stability. It's also about what brings you fulfillment and happiness. Emotions guide us in making choices that resonate with who we are and what's important to us. However, emotions can also lead to impulsive decisions. When we act solely based on our feelings, we might overlook crucial facts or make choices that we later regret. For instance, during an argument, someone might react in anger and say something hurtful without pausing to consider the repercussions. Emotional responses can be powerful, but they aren't always the best foundation for long-term choices. Every day, we navigate the balance between rational thinking and emotion. Picture this. You're deciding whether to move to a new city for a job. Rational thinking may suggest taking the position because it pays well and offers career advancement, while your emotions might cause you to hesitate as you worry about leaving friends and family behind. Both points of view have merit, and the key lies in finding a middle ground. This balance is particularly crucial in relationships. Rational thinking allows us to communicate clearly, resolve conflicts, and make fair decisions. On the other hand, emotions help us connect with others, show empathy, and express love. For example, when a friend is struggling, rationality might lead you to give advice, while your emotional side might urge you to simply listen and offer comfort. Depending on the situation, both approaches hold value. Rational thinking and emotions also play significant roles when it comes to risks. Rational analysis may lead us to take calculated risks, like investing in a new venture after assessing the market carefully. However, emotions might encourage us to pursue risks that feel thrilling or rewarding. Balancing these two aspects helps us navigate both everyday decisions and significant life changes. Deciding what path to take in life can be complex, especially when our choices are influenced by both logic and emotion. For instance, a person might chase after their dream job despite the risks involved, driven by a strong passion or a yearning for satisfaction. Some individuals tend to approach decisions from a logical standpoint, while others lean more on their emotions. Those who think rationally may focus on planning and objectivity, weighing each choice against practical criteria. In contrast, emotional thinkers often prioritize feelings, intuition, and the connections they share with others. It's important to understand that neither approach is inherently better or worse. Each one has its own strengths and weaknesses. Both perspectives are crucial in making thoughtful, well-rounded decisions. Finding the right balance between these two ways of thinking is key. Rationality helps us remain structured and clear, guiding us towards decisions that make practical sense. Meanwhile, emotion adds depth and motivation, helping us to connect with our core values and the people in our lives. When we blend both, we can make choices that are not just smart, but also true to who we are. Consider this scenario. You're thinking about whether to help a friend move. From a rational standpoint, you might evaluate how much time it will take and whether it will disrupt your schedule. Emotionally, you might feel a strong commitment to your friend and a desire to support them. By acknowledging both sides, you could choose to help, while also setting limits to protect your other commitments. Another situation might involve deciding what to do with your savings. Logic may suggest that investing your money is the best route for long-term growth. However, your emotions might lead you to want to spend part of it on a memorable experience, like a dream vacation. By weighing both perspectives, you could decide to invest the majority of your savings while reserving a portion for that enjoyment. Recognizing the roles of rationality and emotion in our lives allows us to navigate our decisions with greater insight. It teaches us that we shouldn't rely solely on logic or feelings. Rather, they complement each other, offering valuable perspectives. Rationality keeps us grounded in facts and future goals, while emotion ensures we remain connected to our values and our relationships. Ultimately, rationality and emotion don't have to be at odds. They can work together harmoniously. By embracing both approaches, we can make choices that are not only thoughtful and meaningful, but also balanced, leading to a life that feels well-planned and deeply fulfilling. Now let's explore the contrast between self-perception and external perception. Self-perception refers to how we view ourselves, our personality, actions, and identity, while external perception is about how others see us. People often form opinions about us based on what they see, and sometimes those views align with how we see ourselves, while at other times they can differ significantly. This disparity can lead to misunderstandings or prompt us to reflect on our own identities. Self-perception involves our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It answers questions like, "Who am I?" or "What person do I aspire to be?" For instance, someone might view themselves as kind, hardworking, or creative because they value these traits and strive to embody them. Our self-perception informs the choices we make, the goals we pursue, and how we relate to others. On the flip side, external perception is how others perceive us. It can be influenced by our actions, words, appearance, and the impressions we leave behind. Take, for example, a person who is quiet at a gathering. They might see themselves as thoughtful and observant, but others may interpret that quietness as shyness. This external view is shaped by other people's experiences, assumptions, and biases, which means it doesn't always reflect the truth. The tension between self-perception and external perception can lead to challenges. Imagine someone who considers themselves generous because they often help friends in need. However, if they forget to attend an important event, others may label them as unreliable. This clash between seeing oneself as generous and being perceived as unreliable can create confusion or frustration. One reason for this gap is that self-perception is rooted in our understanding of our own intentions and thoughts. In contrast, external perception is formed purely from what others observe. For example, you might feel nervous during a presentation but believe you're hiding it well. Others, however, could notice signs like shaky hands or a hesitant voice and conclude that you are unprepared. Such differences in perspective can lead to misunderstandings. Another element at play is impression management, where individuals present themselves in certain ways to influence how others see them. For example, someone might dress formally for a job interview to appear confident and capable, even if they feel anxious inside. While we can sometimes shape external perceptions through our choices, they are not fully within our control. Social media introduces yet another factor into this dynamic. Online, many people curate their lives to showcase only their best moments. This can lead to an impression of success or happiness, even if their reality differs from that polished exterior. It's common for people to share only the highlights of their lives, like vacations and celebrations, while keeping their struggles and challenges private. This can create a disconnect between how they view themselves and how others see them. Interestingly, this difference isn't always a bad thing. For instance, it can lead to personal growth and greater self-awareness. When we discover how others perceive us, it gives us an opportunity to rethink whether our actions truly reflect our intentions. Take a teacher, for example, who believes they are supportive. If they learn from students that they seem difficult to approach, this feedback can prompt them to make positive changes in their teaching style. However, it's also important to recognize that external perceptions aren't always fair or accurate. People may judge others based on superficial impressions or stereotypes, rather than their true character. Imagine someone being unfairly evaluated solely on their appearance, which doesn't reveal their abilities or personality. In such scenarios, maintaining a strong sense of self-perception can help individuals remain confident and grounded, even in the face of outside opinions. Yet, self-perception has its own hurdles. People might be overly critical of themselves, focusing exclusively on their flaws or mistakes. For example, someone might think they aren't intelligent because they struggled in a certain subject, while friends recognize their strengths in other areas. Conversely, some may overestimate their abilities, leading to dilemmas when their self-view clashes with external feedback. Finding a balance between these perspectives is crucial for developing self-awareness and nurturing healthy relationships. Self-perception helps us grasp who we are and what we hold dear, while external perception reveals how our actions influence others and fit into the larger world. By considering both viewpoints, we can grow and adjust without losing sight of our true selves. For instance, in a workplace setting, a person may view themselves as a helpful team player. However, if their colleagues feel that they dominate discussions and don't listen enough, that feedback becomes significant. This insight allows the individual to modify their behavior, like practicing active listening, while still identifying as someone who values teamwork. In our relationships, understanding both self and external perceptions is equally important. Picture someone who sees themselves as caring because they often offer advice to friends. It could be enlightening for them to learn that their friends feel overwhelmed by unsolicited suggestions, prompting a reflection on how they can be more supportive. Sometimes we may feel overwhelmed or misunderstood. This could lead others to think we should focus more on listening rather than giving advice. Finding a balance between how we see ourselves and how others perceive us can enhance our relationships. This balance also supports our personal growth. If we wish to improve in a specific area, a good starting point is to reflect on our self-perception and compare it with the feedback we receive from others. For instance, imagine someone who believes they are a good communicator, but constantly hears that they interrupt others. This person can take steps to align their behavior with their self-view. At its heart, the interplay between how we see ourselves and how others see us reminds us that identity is multifaceted. We are a blend of our self-image and external perceptions. By welcoming feedback while remaining true to our values, we can bridge that gap and cultivate a more genuine and satisfying sense of self. Next, let's explore how we deal with the contrast between hope and despair when facing challenges. Hope is the belief that circumstances can improve, even during tough times. It embodies the idea of keeping faith in positive outcomes and finding the resilience to keep moving forward. On the flip side, despair represents the feeling that things will never change. It's the sense of being stuck, which can lead to sadness, helplessness, or defeat. Consider hope as a powerful motivator. It can inspire us to try again after setbacks, set goals when the way ahead is unclear, and envision a brighter future. For example, someone recovering from an illness may hold on to hope that they'll regain their strength and return to their favorite activities. This hope can encourage them to stick to their treatment and maintain a positive attitude. Hope often springs from a sense of possibility, even in dire situations. It serves as a reminder that change is always on the horizon, whether through our actions, the support of others, or simply the passage of time. Small victories, like solving a problem or receiving encouragement from a friend, can reignite our hope during overwhelming moments. In contrast, despair lingers as the belief that nothing will ever improve. When individuals succumb to despair, they might find it hard to stay motivated or feel like trying at all. Recognizing this distinction can help us understand our emotions better and choose pathways that foster hope rather than deepen despair. Sometimes, it can be easy to feel completely overwhelmed, especially for someone dealing with a long-term financial issue. They may feel trapped, convinced that there's no way to improve their situation. This feeling can create a barrier to taking action, even when solutions might be within reach. Despair often stems from feeling powerless. When problems seem too large or linger for too long, it's common to lose hope. For instance, if someone faces repeated setbacks, they might begin to doubt that success is even possible, despite any small progress they may be making. Isolation can also contribute to these feelings. When people believe they're alone in their struggles, they may feel there's no one to turn to for help. The balance between hope and despair often hinges on how we interpret our experiences and the support systems surrounding us. Those who maintain a sense of hope tend to focus on what they can control, even in tough situations. For example, a student having difficulty in a subject might stay optimistic by breaking their work into smaller, manageable tasks and celebrating each small victory, such as understanding one concept at a time. In contrast, someone who feels despair might fixate on what's going wrong or how far they still have to go, which can intensify their feelings of hopelessness. Hope has the power to foster resilience. When people believe that brighter days are ahead, they're more likely to persevere even after facing setbacks. It's important to note that hope doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. Rather, it involves confronting challenges with the belief that improvement is possible. For instance, someone navigating a difficult relationship might utilize hope to guide their efforts toward rebuilding trust and enhancing communication. While despair is generally viewed negatively, it can serve as an important signal that changes are needed. When someone feels despondent, it often indicates they are grappling with something profoundly significant. For example, if someone feels hopeless about their job, it might prompt them to consider exploring a new career path. Despair can lead individuals to reflect, seek help, or adopt a new approach to their issues. The contrast between hope and despair also plays a role in how people perceive the future. Hope emphasizes possibilities and opportunities, while despair tends to highlight obstacles and limitations. During challenging times, such as a global crisis, hope can motivate communities to come together and seek solutions, whereas despair might lead to feelings of helplessness or apathy. Both perspectives are part of the human experience, but hope usually empowers individuals to keep moving forward. Hope is a powerful force that helps us move forward. It doesn't mean we ignore the challenges we face. Rather, it involves finding reasons to persevere despite those difficulties. For instance, someone who is grieving a loss might experience both sadness and hope simultaneously. They can honor their pain while still believing that healing is possible and that joy can return in the future. It's equally important to acknowledge feelings of despair when they arise. Ignoring our struggles or trying to force positivity can sometimes make things worse. Instead, when we recognize our despair, we can address it and find the support we need. For example, someone feeling hopeless about a project might gain new perspective and encouragement by talking to a friend or mentor. Both hope and despair are natural parts of being human, and it's perfectly normal to experience each at different points in our lives. The key is to find ways to navigate through despair and reconnect with hope. This could involve taking small steps, reaching out for help, or reminding ourselves of challenges we've faced before and successfully overcome. Even when hope feels distant, it's often closer than it appears. In our relationships, hope plays a valuable role. It fosters trust and encourages collaboration when faced with conflicts. On the flip side, despair can emerge when trust is broken or when challenges seem overwhelming. Open communication, empathy, and patience can assist individuals in transitioning from despair back to hope, thereby strengthening their connections in the process. Ultimately, both hope and despair illustrate the power of perspective. Hope encourages us to find opportunities amidst adversity and to continue moving forward during tough times. Meanwhile, despair prompts us to reflect on our needs and seek new paths or support. Together, these emotions shape our approach to life's challenges and remind us that even in moments of darkness, hope can illuminate our way ahead. Now let's explore the concepts of immanence and transcendence. These ideas help us understand the nature of existence, the divine, and our universe. Immanence emphasizes what is present and close to us, while transcendence refers to what is beyond or greater than human experience. Each perspective offers distinct insights into how we perceive our lives and our place within the larger scheme of things. The concept that the divine or ultimate reality is present in everything around us highlights how the sacred intertwines with our everyday lives. For instance, a person who embraces this idea may view nature as a reflection of the divine. They find beauty and meaning in experiences such as watching a sunrise, wandering through a forest, or gazing at the ocean. This connection to the world allows them to see the sacred in people, animals, and even the small, ordinary moments that often go overlooked. This perspective emphasizes closeness and interconnectedness, suggesting that the divine is not distant or separate, but present in every aspect of existence. It can foster a sense of wonder and gratitude for life as it is, prompting individuals to discover spirituality in their daily experiences. A good example of this is someone who practices mindfulness or meditation. They may experience a sense of immanence as they focus on their breath, becoming aware of the present moment and recognizing its simple yet profound beauty. On the other hand, Transcendence refers to the idea that the divine or ultimate reality exists beyond our physical world and human comprehension. This suggests there is something greater than we can see, touch, or experience directly, something infinite, eternal, and beyond our reach. In various religious traditions, transcendence describes a god or higher power that exists outside the confines of time and space, surpassing the material universe. This viewpoint often inspires awe and invites us to contemplate what lies beyond our immediate experiences. For example, when someone looks up at the stars, they might feel a sense of transcendence, reflecting on how small and fleeting human life is compared to the endless vastness of the universe. Such reflections can inspire humility and a connection to something much greater than ourselves. Looking at the difference between immanence and transcendence helps us understand how people or cultures approach spirituality in various ways. Some traditions focus on immanence, highlighting practices that bring individuals closer to the sacred in their daily lives. For instance, certain branches of Buddhism and Hinduism emphasize that enlightenment or divine truth resides within us, waiting to be realized through meditation or self-awareness. In contrast, other traditions lean toward transcendence, stressing the separation between the divine and the human experience. This variety reflects the rich tapestry of beliefs about the nature of the sacred and our place within it. In various perspectives, the sacred represents an ideal we aspire to, something that exists beyond our human experience and requires faith or devotion to approach. Take Christianity, for example, where God is often viewed as transcendent, existing beyond our physical world, yet also immanent, meaning he is present in creation and in human relationships. Each perspective has its advantages and challenges. When we focus on immanence, it brings a sense of closeness and intimacy into our lives. It helps us realize that we can find meaning and spirituality in everyday moments, in the people we love, and in the beauty of nature. However, overemphasizing this closeness could cause us to overlook the bigger, more mysterious aspects of existence that reach beyond our immediate experience. On the flip side, transcendent views inspire wonder and encourage us to think beyond ourselves. They push us to explore the unknown and seek something greater than what we can readily see or comprehend. Yet, this can sometimes feel distant or abstract, making it harder for some to connect with these ideas personally. These two concepts don't necessarily oppose each other. Instead, they can complement one another. For instance, someone might find a sense of immanence when they discover meaning in art or nature, while simultaneously experiencing transcendence when they contemplate the enormity of the universe or concepts like eternity. Many spiritual practices and philosophical viewpoints strive for a balance between these ideas, seeing the divine as both present in our world and existing beyond it. This balance can significantly shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. Immanence nudges us to appreciate the present, connect with others, and find beauty in the ordinary, whereas transcendence inspires us to dream and reach for something beyond our current knowledge. For example, an artist might experience immanence while deeply engaging with their work and the materials they use. At the same time, they can feel a sense of transcendence, guided by an inspiration that seems greater than themselves. Likewise, someone hiking through a forest may feel the intimacy of immanence in the rustling of the trees and the crunch of leaves underfoot, while also sensing the vastness of the landscape, connecting them to something much larger than their own experience. Both immanence and transcendence shape how we view our relationships. Embracing immanence encourages us to focus on the present and savor the moments we share with our loved ones. Building meaningful connections invites us to reflect on the lasting influence of our relationships. These connections shape who we are, our values, and the legacy we leave for future generations. The discussion around immanence and transcendence isn't about picking one over the other. Both perspectives provide valuable insights into life, spirituality, and the quest for meaning. Immanence teaches us to discover the sacred in our everyday experiences, helping us recognize the divine in life's small details. On the other hand, transcendence encourages us to look beyond our current situation, inspiring us to dream about what lies ahead and strive for something greater. By examining both viewpoints, we deepen our understanding of the world and our place in it. Whether we feel drawn to the closeness of immanence or intrigued by the mysteries of transcendence, we are reminded that life is rich with depth, wonder, and endless possibilities. Now we'll explore unity versus duality. This discussion revolves around how we perceive the world and ourselves. Unity suggests that everything is interconnected, forming a single, harmonious whole. It implies that our differences are merely pieces of a larger oneness. In contrast, duality emphasizes the existence of opposites and contrasts, like light and darkness, good and bad, or mind and body. It sees the world as made up of distinct elements that interact with and influence each other. Unity underlines connection and togetherness. It conveys the idea that beneath our visible differences, there exists a shared essence or common thread that binds us all. For instance, in nature, unity is evident in the interdependence of ecosystems. Trees, animals, soil, and water all rely on one another to create a balanced environment. Similarly, in human relationships, unity encourages us to recognize that despite our cultural variations and experiences, we all share fundamental emotions and needs. Regardless of our backgrounds, we all experience joy, love, and pain, highlighting our common humanity. On the flip side, duality points out the significance of differences and contrasts. It shows us that opposites are essential for understanding and balance. For example, we comprehend light because we know darkness, and we value rest because we experience activity. Think about emotions. Happiness feels good, but sadness brings depth to our understanding of joy. By recognizing duality, we learn that opposing forces not only coexist but also help define one another, enriching our day-to-day experiences. The relationship between unity and duality can be quite interesting, as both are essential to our understanding of life. Think about it. Without sadness, we might not fully appreciate happiness, and without challenges, accomplishments might not feel as meaningful. This duality shows us that opposites don't just exist separately. They often rely on each other to make sense of our experiences. When we look at how people view the world, we can see this balance play out. Someone who focuses on unity might see humanity as one big family, where differences and borders are less important than our shared goal of living in peace. On the flip side, another person might view the world through the lens of duality, noticing the contrasts, like conflict and harmony or progress and setbacks that need careful consideration. Both viewpoints have valuable insights to offer. Unity encourages a broader perspective. It fosters compassion, cooperation, and a sense of belonging. For example, when we focus on unity, we might be inspired to take action on global issues like climate change. This approach reminds us that our planet's health affects us all, creating a sense of responsibility and connection. It can be comforting to think that we are part of something larger than ourselves. In contrast, duality helps us embrace complexity. It teaches us that our differences are not only real, but also beneficial. When making decisions, for instance, considering opposing viewpoints can lead to more balanced and thoughtful choices. Duality also sheds light on conflict and growth. Often real progress arises from the interaction of opposing forces. The relationship between unity and duality isn't about picking one over the other. They can actually complement each other beautifully. Unity helps us recognize our shared connections, while duality guides us in understanding the differences that enhance those connections. For example, in a family setting, unity might mean viewing the family as a single unit tied together by love and support. Meanwhile, duality acknowledges that each family member brings their own personality, strengths, and challenges, all of which contribute uniquely to the family dynamic. These concepts frequently appear in philosophy and spirituality as well. Many traditions emphasize unity, suggesting that all of existence is interconnected. In some meditation practices, the aim is to erase the sense of separation and feel at one with the universe. Other traditions delve into duality, exploring how opposites like light and shadow or action and rest interact. Both perspectives help individuals navigate the balance and complexity of life. Unity and duality can play significant roles in how we approach problems and resolve conflicts. When we adopt a unity-based approach, we tend to focus on common goals, such as building a sense of community or finding shared ground during disagreements. On the other hand, A duality-based approach considers the differences at play and works to balance them, addressing the needs of opposing viewpoints in a negotiation. For instance, think about a workplace scenario where employees have differing opinions on managing a project. A unity perspective would promote collaboration by highlighting the team's shared objective. In contrast, a duality perspective would delve into the different viewpoints, seeking ways to integrate them for a more comprehensive solution. By merging these approaches, the team can strive for a balanced and effective outcome. Unity and duality manifest in various fields, such as art, science, and personal relationships. In art, unity might be represented by the harmony of a completed painting, where all elements blend seamlessly to create a cohesive impression. Meanwhile, duality could be exemplified by the contrasts within the artwork, like the interplay of light and shadow or the mix of bold and soft colors, which add texture and intrigue. In the realm of science, unity is evident in theories that seek to explain how all parts of the universe are interconnected. Duality appears in contrasting forces, such as the positive and negative charges of electricity, which are essential for many systems to function. Similarly, in our relationships, unity encourages us to recognize and support our shared values and goals, while duality allows us to appreciate and celebrate our differences, such as distinct interests or varying problem-solving approaches. Both perspectives are crucial for fostering balanced and healthy connections. Ultimately, unity and duality provide us with two distinct lenses through which to view the world. Unity reminds us of our connections and shared purpose, pushing us to collaborate and embrace the overarching narrative. Meanwhile, duality underscores the significance of differences and contrasts, enhancing our appreciation for complexity and guiding us through challenges. By embracing both perspectives, we can attain balance, deepen our understanding, and foster harmony with ourselves and one another. Now, the tension between faith and doubt leads us into a deeper reflection on belief, uncertainty, and the quest for truth. Faith can be understood as trust or confidence in something, often even in the absence of complete evidence. This could be a belief in a higher power, in other people, or in ourselves. Doubt, conversely, involves questioning and uncertainty regarding those beliefs. It encourages us to think critically and assess whether our beliefs hold true or can be relied upon. Both faith and doubt play vital roles in shaping our understanding of the world around us. Clarity and doubt play significant roles in how we perceive the world and our place in it. Faith is a strong force. It gives people direction and purpose, especially during uncertain times. For instance, someone may believe that their hard work will lead to success, even if they don't see immediate results. This belief can provide the strength and resilience necessary to keep moving forward when challenges arise. It often serves as a source of hope, reminding us that brighter days may be on the horizon. While faith is often associated with religion, it extends beyond those boundaries. In a spiritual context, faith can mean trusting in a larger plan or believing in something greater than ourselves. Many religious traditions encourage followers to have faith in God, even when circumstances are hard to understand. This type of faith can offer comfort and create a connection to something eternal. In our everyday lives, faith manifests in relationships, personal goals, and self-growth. When we trust a friend, for example, we are placing faith in their honesty and loyalty. Similarly, when we set goals, we believe in our ability to achieve them. Faith empowers us to take risks, try new things, and believe that our efforts will lead to positive outcomes, even if the results aren't guaranteed. On the other hand, doubt is just as essential. It involves questioning, examining, and challenging what we believe. While faith provides certainty, doubt fosters curiosity and encourages personal growth. For example, if someone questions their current career direction, this doubt could prompt them to explore new opportunities and ultimately discover a more satisfying path. Doubt inspires us to dig deeper, seek solid evidence, and ensure our beliefs are grounded. Furthermore, doubt protects us from blind faith, which can sometimes lead to poor decisions. For instance, believing in something without questioning it could result in missed opportunities. By encouraging critical thinking, doubt helps steer us away from potential pitfalls. Before investing in a risky opportunity, someone might feel doubt, leading them to research thoroughly and carefully weigh the pros and cons. Rather than being at odds, faith and doubt can coexist in a balanced relationship. Faith provides the confidence to take action, while doubt ensures our decisions are thoughtful and well-informed. For example, a scientist might have faith in their ability to solve a problem, but they also rely on doubt to scrutinize their assumptions and test their ideas. This blend of trust and skepticism enables them to arrive at more accurate conclusions. In our personal beliefs, faith and doubt often coexist. For instance, a person might genuinely believe in a higher power, yet still find themselves questioning why difficult things occur or whether their prayers are really being heard. These questions don't necessarily undermine faith. In fact, they can enhance it. By prompting reflection, doubt can lead to a deeper connection with one's beliefs. In this sense, doubt serves as a tool for growth rather than a threat to what we hold dear. Doubt can also inspire change, which is sometimes crucial for personal development. Consider someone who starts to question a tradition or belief they grew up with. This skepticism can encourage them to explore new perspectives and develop their own understanding. While this journey might feel uncomfortable, it's an important step in figuring out what truly resonates with us. However, too much doubt can lead to paralysis. If we find ourselves questioning everything without seeking answers or taking action, it can generate uncertainty and fear. This is where faith becomes vital. It provides the courage to move forward even when we don't have all the answers. For example, think about someone launching a new business. They may doubt whether it will succeed, but their faith in their vision and abilities can motivate them to take that crucial first step. In our relationships, faith and doubt also play significant roles. Trust, which is a form of faith, is essential for building strong connections. We believe in the reliability and goodwill of those we care about, but doubt can surface when trust is broken or when there's uncertainty about someone's intentions. Finding a balance between these feelings is essential for maintaining healthy relationships. Doubt can prompt important conversations or necessary changes, while faith enables us to forgive, rebuild, and move forward. This interplay between faith and doubt also surfaces when considering big life questions, like the meaning of life or what happens after we die. Often, these queries don't have clear-cut answers, which is why both faith and doubt hold importance. Faith offers us a sense of purpose and hope, while doubt motivates us to continue seeking understanding. Together, they allow us to explore life's mysteries in a meaningful way. It's important to recognize that neither faith nor doubt is inherently better than the other. They serve different yet complementary purposes. Faith offers stability, confidence, and direction, while doubt fosters reflection, curiosity, and growth. The key lies in maintaining a balance that allows us to progress while remaining open to new ideas and possibilities. For example, a student exploring different subjects might experience doubts about their direction. This uncertainty could lead them to discover new interests or strengths, ultimately enhancing their educational journey. Preparing for a challenging exam can be a mix of emotions. On one hand, a person might have confidence in their ability to succeed, which encourages them to study diligently. At the same time, a bit of doubt can be beneficial. It often prompts them to review their work and consider obstacles they might not have predicted. By balancing faith in their skills with a healthy dose of skepticism, they can face the exam with both assurance and caution. So, why are faith and doubt important? They are not opposing forces. Instead, they work together as allies in our quest to understand ourselves and the world around us. Faith encourages us to trust the journey we are on, while doubt pushes us to question and grow. This combination allows us to meet life's uncertainties with curiosity and courage, ultimately leading to a deeper understanding of our existence. Life and death represent two of the most profound themes we encounter as humans. Life is about growth, experience, and connection. Everything that unfolds between the moment we are born and when we take our last breath. On the other hand, death marks the end of these experiences, the point at which our physical body stops functioning. While life and death may seem like opposites, they are intricately linked and often shape our perspective on what it means to exist. Life is vibrant and ever-changing. It is filled with growth and progression, From a child's first breath to the many experiences that shape a person throughout their lifetime. It encompasses the choices we make, the relationships we build, and the meaning we derive from our daily lives. We celebrate these moments through birthdays, achievements, and milestones. The joys, loves, challenges, and even pains we encounter add richness and depth to our lives. Every day brings new opportunities to learn, grow, and connect with others. Simple moments like sharing a meal, watching a sunrise, or laughing with a friend make life feel full, even during tough times. Life often presents us with glimmers of hope and resilience that remind us of its inherent value. Death, in contrast, is the unavoidable end of life. Every living being will eventually face it, yet it remains one of the greatest mysteries. Many view death with fear or sadness, as it signifies the unknown and the potential loss of connections with cherished individuals. It marks the conclusion of our physical existence and the end of our experiences on this earth. However, it's vital to remember that death is a natural part of being alive. As seasons change and life begins anew, death plays a crucial role in this cycle. When one plant dies, it enriches the soil for another to grow. Similarly, in human life, death often brings people together. It prompts us to think about what truly matters, helping us appreciate the time we have and the relationships we hold dear. This dance between life and death influences how we live. Knowing that our time is limited gives life a certain urgency and meaning. If we were to live forever, we might not feel the same motivation to chase our dreams, express our love, or make the most of every moment. Death serves as a reminder to value life, savor its experiences, and prioritize what's truly important. However, the topic of death can also feel heavy, especially when it comes unexpectedly or impacts someone we care about. It's normal to grieve, to feel the sting of loss, and to ponder what happens after life comes to an end. Different cultures and beliefs provide various perspectives on these questions. Some speak of an afterlife, while others view death as a return to nature. Life and death intertwine as we seek meaning. Many find purpose in leaving behind a legacy, something that continues even after they are gone. This could be raising a family, creating art, building a community, or simply showing kindness to others. These acts connect our lives to something greater, ensuring a piece of us remains even when we're no longer here. Endings also reflect the relationship between life and death. Every change, whether it's moving on from a job, ending a relationship, or transitioning through a phase of life, can feel like a small death. Yet, these endings often pave the way for new beginnings. They remind us that life and death are not solely about physical existence, but also about cycles of growth and renewal. In moments of deep reflection, many come to see death not just as an end, but as a teacher. It invites us to ask questions like, what do I want to leave behind? Or how can I make the most of my time? These inquiries encourage us to live with intention, focusing on what truly matters. Furthermore, life and death shape our connections with others. Our relationships gain depth because we understand they won't last forever. This awareness encourages us to cherish our time with loved ones, express our feelings, and create lasting memories. It's this understanding that makes our moments count. At memorial services, we often take a moment to celebrate life, focusing on the impact a person has had on those around them. While some view death with fear or sadness, others find a sense of peace in it. These varying feelings are shaped by individual beliefs, experiences, and cultural backgrounds. For some, death is a transition to another realm or a return to the universe. For others, it serves as a reminder to live fully, knowing that every moment matters. Both life and death offer lessons about balance. Life is filled with possibilities, yet it can also be unpredictable. Death, while certain, comes at an unknown time. Together, they encourage us to approach life with awareness and gratitude, allowing us to appreciate the beauty of now, while recognizing that change is inevitable. In this way, life and death are not just opposites, they are partners in the story of existence. Life invites us to be present, to embrace growth, and to savor the journey. Death, while marking an end, creates room for reflection, renewal, and the legacies we leave behind. By acknowledging and accepting both aspects, we can live with deeper purpose and connection, making the most of every moment we have. As we consider the theme of human fallibility versus divine perfection, we delve into two concepts that shape our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Human fallibility highlights our limitations, mistakes, and imperfections. In contrast, divine perfection embodies an ideal standard of flawlessness, often associated with a higher power. This tension between the two can be both humbling and motivating, influencing how we grow, seek meaning, and handle life's challenges. Human fallibility is an inescapable part of being human. Mistakes happen. People misjudge situations or act contrary to their values. For instance, someone may break a promise to a friend not out of malice, but simply because they forgot or had other pressing responsibilities. These errors remind us that perfection is unattainable and that growth often arises from confronting our shortcomings. Our fallibility arises from being influenced by emotions, limited information, and varying circumstances. Even when we have the best intentions, we may still make poor choices. A parent striving to do their best for their child might unintentionally say something hurtful, just as a leader making decisions for their community can misjudge the impact of their actions. Moments of failure can be tough to handle. They often leave us feeling discouraged, but they also offer chances to reflect and improve. Now let's explore the idea of divine perfection. This concept suggests an ultimate, unchanging ideal found in many religious traditions, where the divine is described as all-knowing, all-powerful, and perfectly good. For many, this idea serves as a standard against which they measure themselves. Take, for instance, the teachings of kindness and justice within different faiths. A person may look to these lessons as guides for how to live, even if they know they may never completely embody those ideals. It's important to note that divine perfection doesn't always imply belief in a deity. For some, it reflects abstract concepts like truth, love, or justice, higher values that might seem just out of reach, yet are worthy goals to pursue. These ideals provide direction, reminding people that, despite their imperfections, they can still grow and contribute to something greater. The balance between human fallibility and divine perfection can be both difficult and motivating. On one hand, recognizing our flaws may lead to feelings of guilt or inadequacy, especially when we compare ourselves to seemingly unreachable standards. For example, someone might feel overwhelmed trying to meet their religious teachings or societal expectations, constantly believing they're falling short. On the other hand, this same awareness can encourage growth. Understanding that we are not perfect doesn't prevent us from improving. In fact, striving for these higher ideals, even if we never fully attain them, can add meaning to our lives. Imagine someone working to be more compassionate, even if they occasionally lose their temper. That ongoing effort to align with greater values, even imperfectly, is what makes life fulfilling. Human flaws often connect us. When we acknowledge our shared imperfections, we foster empathy and understanding. Take, for example, a leader who admits to their mistakes. This honesty can make them more relatable and earn them respect, unlike a leader who presents themselves as infallible. Similarly, in personal relationships, admitting faults and seeking forgiveness can strengthen connections. At the same time, the notion of divine perfection offers a sense of stability and guidance in a world that often feels unpredictable. The idea of something perfect and unchanging can bring comfort and hope, serving as a reminder that there are ideals worth striving for even in our imperfect lives. Even when people make mistakes, there is often a higher standard they can look to for guidance. For example, someone facing a difficult ethical decision might find clarity by reflecting on their spiritual beliefs or values that they hold dear. This challenge often appears in self-improvement efforts as well. Those who focus too much on being perfect may end up being overly critical of themselves or others, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy or frustration. Think about it. Someone might set unrealistic goals, believing they must be flawless to deserve love or success. On the other hand, accepting our human imperfections doesn't mean we should stop striving for personal growth. It simply means recognizing that failure is a natural part of the journey. Often, we learn and progress through our mistakes. In spirituality, this balance is essential. Many religious teachings accept human imperfection while offering a path to connect with something greater. Concepts like grace, forgiveness, and redemption remind us that we don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love, guidance, or purpose. In our daily lives, the relationship between fallibility and perfection influences how we connect with others. Take parenting, for instance. Parents often aim to provide the best for their children, fully aware they will make mistakes along the way. A parent might strive to be patient and understanding, but occasionally lose their temper. By acknowledging their shortcomings and working to improve, they demonstrate resilience and accountability to their children. Similarly, in the workplace or creative endeavors, the desire for perfection can inspire high aspirations. Yet that same drive can create unwarranted pressure. An artist might feel stuck, worried about creating something flawless, and miss out on the chance to grow through experimentation and failure. Finding a balance between these perspectives allows individuals to pursue excellence while accepting that mistakes are part of the learning process. This dynamic between our human flaws and the idea of divine perfection also prompts essential questions about how we define success and fulfillment. Is success about reaching a certain ideal, or is it more about the effort we invest in our growth? Many would say that it's the journey, not the destination, that truly matters. By reaching for perfection while embracing our imperfections, we can discover meaning in the process of becoming. Better versions of ourselves can be seen as a blend of our human imperfections and the idea of divine perfection. Our flaws remind us that we are human, capable of making mistakes, but also ready to grow. Meanwhile, the notion of divine perfection offers us a goal to strive for, providing guidance and inspiration. Together, these concepts help us understand ourselves and the world around us, encouraging a balance of humility and hope as we face life's challenges. This balance allows us to discover purpose, build connections, and gain a deeper understanding of what it means to be human. Finding harmony between work and personal life is essential. Work involves meeting deadlines, attending meetings, and achieving professional goals. On the other hand, life encompasses time spent with family, friends, hobbies, and personal growth. Balancing these two areas is crucial for overall well-being, but it can often be challenging. For many, work is a significant aspect of life, providing income, structure, and sometimes even a sense of identity. For some individuals, their job is a passion or a source of pride, while for others, work is mainly about ensuring financial stability for themselves and their loved ones. Regardless of how one views work, it can consume a lot of our time and energy, leaving less available for personal pursuits. Yet, life outside of work is equally vital. It's where we develop relationships, explore hobbies, focus on our health, and take pleasure in everyday moments. Whether it's spending quality time with family, exercising, reading, or simply unwinding, these activities refresh our spirits and lend meaning to our lives beyond just career achievements. When we lack this personal time, it's easy to feel burned out or disconnected from the aspects of life that truly matter. The challenge arises when work and personal life compete for our attention. Long hours at the office can cut into time with loved ones or personal interests. Conversely, personal obligations, like caring for children or aging parents, can distract us from our work responsibilities. When one side overshadows the other, this imbalance can lead to stress, fatigue, or unhappiness. Achieving work-life balance isn't about splitting our time perfectly between both areas. Instead, it's about knowing what matters most at any given moment. For instance, during a hectic work season, you might need to dedicate extra hours to a project. However, it's equally important to carve out time for relaxation or vacation later on to recharge. A crucial step in maintaining work-life balance is setting boundaries. This can include defining working hours, learning to say no when necessary, and prioritizing personal time just as strongly as you prioritize work tasks. By creating these boundaries, you allow space for what's most important, helping to ensure a healthy and fulfilling life overall. Leaving work at a set time each day, or not checking emails after hours, can be crucial for maintaining balance. For instance, someone who values family dinners may choose to put their phone away during that time. These boundaries help carve out personal time while keeping work under control. Another key aspect of work-life balance is flexibility. Life can be unpredictable, and sometimes one area needs more attention than the other. A parent might need to take time off to care for a sick child, or an employee may need to rearrange their schedule for a family event. Flexibility allows people to adjust to these changing demands without feeling overwhelmed. Employers have an important role in fostering work-life balance as well. Companies that offer flexible hours, remote work options, or generous leave policies make it easier for employees to manage their responsibilities. For example, a business that allows parents to work from home when necessary demonstrates that it values their personal lives just as much as their professional contributions. When employees feel supported, they are often more motivated and productive. However, work-life balance isn't solely about reducing time spent at work. It's also about using time wisely. For instance, someone who works fewer hours but fills their free time with chores may still feel unbalanced. It's essential to set aside time for activities that bring joy and relaxation, whether that means spending time with friends and family, pursuing hobbies, or simply unwinding. Cultural expectations can also play a significant role in work-life balance. In some cultures, long hours and being constantly available are seen as signs of dedication, which can make it tough to prioritize personal life. In other cultures, there's more emphasis on leisure, with shorter work weeks or extended vacations. Understanding and challenging these cultural norms can help individuals and organizations establish healthier expectations. Technology adds another layer of complexity to work-life balance. While tools like email and video calls facilitate remote work, they can also blur the boundaries between work and personal time. It's easy to feel compelled to respond to work messages during evenings or weekends. Setting clear rules, such as turning off notifications after a certain time, can help maintain those important boundaries. Achieving work-life balance looks different for everyone, as individuals have varying needs and priorities. For one person, it might mean a strict separation of work and home life, while for another, it could involve greater integration of both. Working fewer hours may mean more time spent with family for some, while for others, it might involve seeking a job that truly matches their values and passions. The key lies in understanding what balance means for you and being willing to make adjustments along the way. It's important to remember that achieving balance isn't a one-off event. It's a continuous journey. Life evolves, and so do our priorities. For instance, someone in the earlier stages of their career might prioritize skill building and establishing a good reputation. In contrast, someone later in life may focus more on cherishing moments with loved ones or exploring personal interests. Adapting to these shifting priorities is essential for maintaining that balance. Work-life balance isn't merely about avoiding stress. It's about crafting a fulfilling life. When we allocate time for both work and personal pursuits, we are more likely to feel energized, satisfied, and connected. Recognizing that both aspects are important and finding ways to make space for each is crucial. Ultimately, work-life balance comes down to choices. It involves deciding what truly matters, setting boundaries to protect your time, and creating room for activities that bring joy and meaning. By staying aware of your priorities and being flexible, you can build a life that feels rewarding and authentic. Now, let's explore overthinking versus intuition. This distinction is important as it influences how we make decisions and tackle various situations. Overthinking involves careful analysis, questioning, and weighing every detail. On the flip side, intuition relies on gut feelings and a sense of knowing, where actions don't require a step-by-step breakdown. Both methods have their pros and cons, and finding a balance between them can lead to better decision-making. Overthinking often occurs when we fixate on a problem or choice, going over the same details repeatedly. It's akin to being caught in a mental loop, driven by the fear of overlooking something or making an incorrect choice. For example, if someone is torn between two job offers, they might analyze every detail, salary, location, work-life balance, so intensely that they end up feeling stuck and unable to decide. While overthinking can be beneficial in some contexts, like gathering information and considering various perspectives, it can also become detrimental. For instance, when someone is contemplating buying a house, overthinking might prompt thorough neighborhood research, careful property inspections, and detailed financial assessments. However, this process can sometimes lead to decision paralysis. Balancing overthinking with intuitive judgment can help streamline our decision-making process, allowing us to feel more confident in our choices. Analyzing situations can help us make better choices and avoid mistakes. However, it's also possible to get caught in a cycle of overthinking. When we spend too much time worrying about minor details, we can miss the bigger picture. For instance, someone planning a party might fixate on every tiny detail, like the shade of the tablecloth or the exact songs for the playlist. In doing so, they might forget what's truly important, enjoying themselves and connecting with their guests. Overthinking can amplify minor issues and leave us feeling overwhelmed. In contrast, intuition allows us to make decisions quickly based on a feeling or instinct. This quick judgment is often described as a gut feeling that arises without much conscious thought. For example, when meeting someone new, we may feel a sense of trust or caution before we can articulate why. Intuition draws from our past experiences and instinctual knowledge that often operates beneath our awareness. One benefit of intuition is its speed, particularly in urgent situations. For instance, a firefighter responding to an emergency may rely on their intuition to swiftly assess danger and determine the best course of action. Similarly, intuition plays a valuable role in creative tasks, like brainstorming or approaching problems in unique ways. It can feel natural because it connects with the patterns we've learned over the years. A seasoned chef, for example, might instinctively know how to balance flavors without having to meticulously measure each ingredient. Similarly, a teacher may sense when a student is struggling, even if that student hasn't spoken up. That said, intuition isn't foolproof. It can be swayed by biases, emotions, or missing information. Someone might feel that a particular investment is a good idea, only to later realize they overlooked crucial details. Intuition can sometimes lead to quick decisions based more on assumptions than actual facts. This tension between overthinking and intuition often arises when we're faced with significant decisions. Should we take the time to analyze things carefully or trust our gut feelings? The best approach depends on the specific situation. For complex choices that require detailed planning, such as selecting a career path or making a financial investment, taking the time to think things through might be more beneficial. In fast-paced or emotionally charged situations, such as when you're responding to an emergency or making a creative decision, it can be helpful to rely on your intuition. However, the key lies in striking a balance between intuition and overthinking. Both can work together to enhance our decision-making process. For example, when contemplating whether to accept a new job, you might first tap into your intuition. Does the opportunity excite you? Does it seem right for your goals? Once you've listened to your gut feeling, you can switch gears and use overthinking to weigh the pros and cons, ensuring you've considered all practical factors. It's also essential to recognize when we're leaning too heavily in one direction. If overthinking begins to cause stress or makes it difficult to move forward, it could be time to pause and listen to your intuition instead. Take planning a vacation as an example. If you find yourself endlessly debating when to book it, your intuition might remind you that you've been longing to travel for some time, and it might be worth simply saying yes. On the flip side, if your intuition nudges you towards an impulsive decision, it can be beneficial to slow down and reflect. Imagine you feel tempted to purchase something expensive. Taking a moment to think might help you determine if it's really worth the price tag or just a fleeting desire. Understanding how to balance overthinking and intuition can also enrich our relationships. Overthinking might lead us to second-guess our words or actions, worrying excessively about how others view us. In contrast, intuition helps us connect more genuinely when we trust our instincts in social interactions. For instance, if you sense a friend is upset, your intuition might prompt you to check in with them, while overthinking might make you hesitate, questioning if you're interpreting the situation correctly. Ultimately, both overthinking and intuition play important roles. Overthinking enables us to plan and analyze critically, while intuition helps us act swiftly and trust our inner voice. By learning to recognize when each method is most effective, we can approach decisions with increased confidence and ease. They are not opposites, but rather complementary tools that, when used together, allow us to navigate life with both thoughtful analysis and instinctive assurance. Balancing these two approaches equips us to tackle challenges with care and confidence, leading to choices that resonate with both our minds and hearts. The interplay between technology and nature highlights two powerful forces that significantly influence our lives. Technology is a reflection of human creativity, encompassing the tools and systems we create to solve problems and enhance our daily experiences. Nature, in contrast, represents the world as it exists independently of human influence, including forests, oceans, wildlife, and the natural rhythms that govern our environment. Both elements are vital for our survival, yet they often seem to clash. On one hand, technology embodies progress and innovation. It has changed the way we live, work, and communicate. From electricity to medicine and smartphones to the internet, technology has made our lives more convenient and interconnected. For instance, video calls enable us to connect with friends and family across the globe. While advancements in healthcare have not only increased our lifespan, but also improved our overall quality of life. One of the notable strengths of technology is its ability to provide quick and efficient solutions to complex challenges. Take, for example, satellite technology, which helps forecast weather patterns, allowing communities to prepare for potential disasters. Renewable energy technologies also aim to lessen our reliance on fossil fuels and combat climate change. However, it's essential to recognize the downsides of technology. While it offers convenience and innovation, it can also foster over-reliance and environmental harm, and create a sense of separation from the natural world. For example, the extraction of resources for electronic devices often leads to habitat destruction. Moreover, excessive screen time can affect our mental health and reduce our time spent in nature. Nature, on the other hand, is all about balance, simplicity, and our connection to the earth. It provides us with fundamental necessities such as clean air, water, food, and a stable climate. Beyond these essentials, nature promotes our well-being in ways that technology often struggles to replicate. Have you ever noticed how spending time in a forest or by the ocean can lift your spirits and alleviate stress? These benefits come simply from being present in the natural world. Additionally, nature teaches us about harmony and resilience. Ecosystems function through intricate relationships where every component has its role. For example, forests thrive thanks to the cooperation of trees, plants, animals, fungi, and microbes, all working together to sustain life. This interconnectedness serves as a reminder that we are part of a larger system, and our actions can have far-reaching consequences. Nature surrounds us, and at times, throws unexpected challenges our way. Natural disasters like hurricanes, droughts, and earthquakes remind us of nature's immense power, which often seems beyond our control. This unpredictability is one reason we've developed technology to help us adapt and protect ourselves from nature's extremes. Interestingly, the relationship between technology and nature can feel like a tug of war. On one hand, technology can disrupt natural systems. For example, deforestation to make space for urban development or agriculture can upset ecosystems and reduce biodiversity. On the other hand, nature often pushes back, evident in rising sea levels, shifting weather patterns, and species adapting to new environments. However, it doesn't have to be a conflict. Technology and nature can work together in harmony. Many modern innovations aim to respect and complement the natural world. Take green energy solutions like wind turbines and solar panels, which harness natural resources to produce sustainable energy. Furthermore, conservation technologies like drones help monitor wildlife, and tools designed to clean up oceans show how we can use innovation to protect and restore our environment. This balance extends to our daily lives too. Many of us use fitness apps to track outdoor runs or install smart thermostats to conserve energy at home. These tools blend technology with our nature-centered goals, making it easier to live in a way that honors both aspects. Yet, it's also crucial that we take a moment to unplug from our devices and reconnect with nature. While smartphones and social media keep us linked to the digital world, they can also draw us away from the physical environment. Spending time outdoors can restore our sense of balance, providing a unique peace that technology can't replicate. Cultural attitudes greatly influence our approach to technology and nature. In some cultures, technological advancement is seen as a primary goal, a way to conquer and better the world. In others, there's a stronger focus on living harmoniously with nature, valuing traditional practices and sustainable methods over fast-paced innovation. Each perspective has valuable insights to share on navigating the balance between these forces. One effective way to bridge the divide is by considering how technology can enhance our connection with nature rather than detract from it. Apps that help identify plants or birds are great tools for anyone looking to understand the natural world better. They make learning more engaging and accessible. Similarly, virtual reality can transport us to far-off ecosystems, allowing us to appreciate their beauty and recognize the importance of protecting them. This brings us to a key idea. The relationship between technology and nature is all about balance. On one side, technology showcases our creativity and ambition to enhance our lives. On the other, nature connects us to our roots, reminds us of our limits, and highlights our dependence on the earth. Both elements play crucial roles, and we can't overlook either one. By using technology thoughtfully and staying in touch with the natural world, we can create a harmonious environment where both aspects complement each other. Consider sustainable practices and eco-friendly innovations, or even just taking the time to enjoy the outdoors. Each action helps us respect the tools we've developed while also valuing the natural resources that support us. Striking this balance may not always be straightforward, but it's essential for our well-being, happiness, and the future of our planet. Now let's dive into the contrast between wealth and happiness, which revolves around understanding what truly fulfills us. Wealth often refers to material possessions and financial resources, while happiness relates to feelings of well-being, contentment, and joy. While having wealth can contribute to happiness, the two aren't synonymous, and chasing one doesn't always guarantee the other. Wealth brings a sense of security and opens doors to opportunities. It allows us to cover basic needs like food, shelter, healthcare, and education. For instance, think about someone who knows they can pay their bills without worry. This person is likely to feel more relaxed and able to focus on other important parts of life. Furthermore, financial stability can enable experiences that foster happiness, such as travel, hobbies, or quality time with loved ones. Someone who isn't juggling multiple jobs may have the opportunity to take a long-desired vacation or invest time in activities they love. However, it's important to recognize that wealth has its limits when it comes to happiness. Research indicates that once people achieve a certain level of financial security, enough to meet their basic needs and enjoy some comforts, additional wealth doesn't significantly boost their happiness. For example, a person with a stable, modest income may feel just as satisfied as someone making millions if both enjoy meaningful relationships, good health, and a sense of purpose in life. Happiness often stems from aspects of life that money can't purchase, such as strong relationships, personal growth, and meaningful experiences. These elements contribute significantly to long-term happiness, often more than material possessions. For example, spending quality time with friends or offering support to someone in need can foster connections and a sense of fulfillment that money alone can't provide. However, society frequently equates success with wealth. Many people feel pressured to chase higher salaries, larger homes, or more possessions, believing these will lead to happiness. While achieving financial goals can bring a sense of accomplishment, it might not satisfy deeper emotional or spiritual needs. Consider someone who works long hours to maintain a luxurious lifestyle. Despite their financial success, they may feel lonely and disconnected due to a lack of meaningful relationships. On the other hand, focusing solely on happiness without considering financial stability can also present challenges. For instance, a person who chooses to work in a low-paying job they love may find it difficult to cover basic expenses, leading to stress that impacts their overall well-being. This demonstrates that wealth and happiness are interconnected. It's tough to feel truly joyful when you're constantly worried about making ends meet. Furthermore, how people choose to use their resources plays a pivotal role in the relationship between wealth and happiness. Research suggests that spending money on experiences, such as trips or activities with loved ones, generally brings more joy than purchasing material goods. Experiences create lasting memories and strengthen bonds, whereas the excitement of new possessions often fades quickly. Generosity also illustrates how wealth can enhance happiness. When people use their money to help others, through charitable donations, supporting friends, or investing in community projects, they often experience a sense of purpose and fulfillment. For example, someone who contributes to a cause they care about may feel happier, knowing they've made a positive impact. It's important to note that happiness isn't solely dependent on outside circumstances. Mindset plays a crucial role too. Practicing gratitude can significantly contribute to overall happiness. Individuals who appreciate what they have, regardless of their financial situation, are more likely to feel content. For instance, a person living a modest life but valuing their health and relationships can find joy even in simple things. Relationships and experiences can often bring more joy than simply accumulating wealth, especially when someone is overly focused on their financial gains. Different cultures illustrate how wealth and happiness are not measured the same way. In some societies, material success is closely linked to happiness, while in others, community ties, relationships, or spiritual fulfillment hold greater importance. This variety indicates that happiness is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It is influenced by individual values, priorities, and perspectives. The interplay between wealth and happiness often revolves around finding the right balance. Money can certainly serve as a foundation for a happy life by providing security and opportunities, but it doesn't guarantee happiness by itself. True contentment emerges from a mix of different elements, like relationships, a sense of purpose, good health, and our overall outlook on life. For instance, a person who has a comfortable income and spends quality time with loved ones, pursues meaningful goals, and prioritizes their well-being is likely to feel happier than someone who isolates themselves in the pursuit of wealth alone. Likewise, someone who embraces a simpler life, focusing on enriching experiences and deep connections, can discover profound happiness even without significant financial means. Ultimately, wealth and happiness are not opposing forces. Rather, they are tools we can utilize to build a fulfilling life. Wealth supplies the resources needed to meet our needs and explore opportunities, while happiness comes from the way we engage with life, foster connections, and discover meaning. By concentrating on what truly matters and viewing wealth as a resource rather than an end goal, we can create a life that is both secure and deeply rewarding. Now, let's explore the contrast between scarcity and abundance. These concepts shape how we perceive resources, opportunities, and life itself. Scarcity embodies the mindset that there isn't enough, whether it be time, money, love, or success, and leads to a belief that we must compete or struggle to obtain what we need. On the flip side, abundance is the view that there is plenty to share and that resources and opportunities are more plentiful than they might appear. These two mindsets influence how we tackle challenges, manage relationships, and perceive our overall well-being. A scarcity mindset often breeds urgency or fear, making it feel as though time, money, or opportunities are slipping away. For example, someone holding onto a scarcity mindset regarding finances might experience ongoing stress over saving every penny, even when they are financially secure. This perspective can hinder enjoyment and prevent a person from appreciating the abundance that already exists in their life. When we focus on what we lack instead of appreciating what we have, it can lead us into a mindset of scarcity. This perspective often breeds competition. If we think resources are limited, we may start viewing others as rivals rather than partners. For instance, in a work environment, an employee with a scarcity mindset might hesitate to share their ideas or knowledge for fear that someone else might take the credit or get ahead of them. While a little competition can motivate people to work harder, too much of it can create stress, mistrust, and conflict. On the flip side, embracing an abundance mindset encourages us to see possibilities and fosters the belief that there is enough for everyone. It's about recognizing that opportunities and success aren't limited, and that sharing doesn't diminish our own chances. For example, if a colleague gets promoted, someone with an abundance mentality might celebrate that achievement, understanding it doesn't take away from their own potential for growth. This mindset nurtures collaboration, generosity, and a sense of community. One advantage of an abundance mindset is that it opens up avenues for creativity and opportunity. Instead of getting bogged down by limitations, it inspires people to think about what can be achieved. Take an entrepreneur, for example. Viewing a competitive market as a challenge to innovate can lead to fresh ideas rather than discouragement. By concentrating on what's possible rather than what's holding them back, they are more likely to find success. Abundance also fosters gratitude. When we trust that there's enough to go around, we tend to appreciate what we have more and are inclined to share it with others. Someone who feels abundant in their relationships, for instance, may prioritize spending quality time with friends and family, knowing that these connections only deepen when nurtured. However, holding an abundance mindset doesn't mean ignoring reality or making careless decisions. Resources like time, money, and energy are finite, so it's important to manage them wisely. For example, someone who believes in financial abundance may still create a budget. They understand that abundance is about optimizing the resources they have rather than squandering them. Similarly, an abundance mindset doesn't imply that challenges don't exist. Rather, it encourages approaching obstacles with confidence and creativity instead of fear. The contrast between scarcity and abundance often boils down to perspective. Scarcity is all about what's missing, while abundance emphasizes what's possible. For instance, when two people are vying for the same job, someone with a scarcity mindset might think, if they get it, I lose. Meanwhile, a person with an abundance mindset may consider the situation more positively, seeing it as an opportunity for everyone to find their unique path to success. An abundance mindset can change how we approach opportunities. For instance, if someone doesn't get a job they wanted, they might think, that's okay, there will be other chances down the road. In contrast, a scarcity mindset can lead to feelings of insecurity in relationships. When someone believes that love or attention is limited, they might feel jealous if their partner spends time with friends. They may worry that love is a finite resource. However, those with an abundance mindset understand that love multiplies when shared, making them feel more secure and generous in their relationships. In the workplace, mindset plays an important role in shaping a company's culture. A company focused on scarcity may concentrate solely on cutting costs or competing against others, which can lead to stress and burnout among employees. On the flip side, a company with an abundance mindset may prioritize employee development, collaboration, and innovation. They trust that these investments will result in long-term success. Scarcity and abundance also impact how we view the world. Someone who sees resources as scarce might believe helping others will take away from what they have. In contrast, those with an abundance mindset work towards sustainable solutions, believing that by collaborating, we can create enough for everyone. Both mindsets have their advantages. Scarcity can sometimes motivate us to focus and act quickly. For instance, if you're close to a deadline, recognizing that time is limited can encourage you to work more efficiently. However, staying in a constant state of scarcity can lead to stress and fear, narrowing our view of what is possible. Abundance, on the other hand, promotes hope, generosity, and creativity. It reminds us that even in tough times, there are ways to make the most of what we have. For example, someone with an abundance mindset during difficult periods might uncover unexpected opportunities for growth or connection. Finding balance is key. By acknowledging real limitations while fostering an abundance mindset, we can approach life with both practicality and optimism. Take someone saving for a big purchase, for example. They might understand the need to budget carefully, recognizing scarcity while also believing their hard work will lead to future opportunities, reflecting abundance. Ultimately, choosing between scarcity and abundance shapes how we view the world and our role in it. A scarcity mindset can create anxiety, while an abundance mindset opens up possibilities and fosters resilience. Focusing on abundance rather than competition can lead to a more grateful, generous, and creative mindset. When we shift our attention from what we lack to what we have, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. This change in perspective helps us tackle challenges with confidence, strengthen our relationships, and ultimately feel more fulfilled in our lives. By embracing this mindset, we can transform how we approach both our personal and professional journeys. Have you ever noticed how a little gratitude can completely change your outlook? It's a small shift that can lead to profound changes.